Real estate can be really intimidating. In fact, a lot of newbies, they can learn 1,000 different things and they actually just get more paralyzed by all of the information. They're afraid of cold calling, not because of what the seller might say when they say no, they're actually afraid of what happens when the seller says yes. How do I deal with contracts? How do I deal with contractors? How do I pull permits? How do I deal with this big, massive situation I got going on? Fixing and flipping is scary. Wholesaling is scary. It takes a lot of skills, a lot of negotiations, all of those types of things. But the cool thing is this video you're gonna be watching is all about the Gator Method, which is actually the most simple, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let's check it out. Every real estate transaction needs one thing. Every real estate transaction needs money. And you know what the coolest thing on planet Earth to sell is? Money. In fact, today I wired $600,000, and if you're a newbie, you're gonna say, oh my gosh, I don't have $600,000. Totally get that, hang with me. I wired $600,000 to somebody that's buying a multifamily property. That person did the cold calling. That person did the contracts. That person managed all the contractors, deals with the tenants, deals with all of those types of things, and they needed $600,000 to finalize the transaction. Beautiful thing is, the $600,000 that I brought to them wasn't even my own money. I will be making $120,000 on somebody else's transaction. I do this on deals that are earnest money of $1,000, all the way to deals that are $1 million. It is the coolest, easiest, most simple way to get started in real estate. And if you want to change your life, this series today that you're going to be watching is about 3 hours long. It's not just theory, guys. It's step by step by step. Where do I find these types of opportunities? Where do I find the money to bring to these people that need that money? Why the heck did they need money and they can't go find the money? All of those types of things are going to be answered. And even further, we're going to go into some student success stories. They're going to be showing you exactly how they got started in Gator, how it changed their life, changed the trajectory of their entire family. And here's the difference. You, if you're still watching this, you need to take notepad and pen and paper, sit down, turn off all the distractions, because I promise you, this masterclass is gonna change your life. It's gonna change your kid's life. You're gonna look at money, you're gonna look at real estate completely different. When I see a dumpster in front of a house, I don't say, wow, I wonder how much that fix and flipper is making. I see a dumpster in front of the house and I go, who gave them the money to do that project and why didn't they get the money from me? The person who brings the money does no work, zero, zilch whatsoever. And we're even gonna talk about how you protect yourself in these situations. So buckle up, jump on in, and let's take a chunk out of other people's projects, other people's real estate deals by learning the Gator Method. Buckle up, buttercup. So buckle up and let's get into it. Why is Gator a great way to get started in real estate? Well, we're gonna go through that today. Look at all of these transactions that happen in the whole life of a real estate deal. This is where a wholesaler gets their contract. Wholesalers need EMD. 85% of wholesalers don't have the money to put up their EMD, and so therefore they are breaching their contract. This is where regulation is setting in deeply. Wholesalers need EMD deeply, and it causes issues for title companies and escrow officers that wholesalers don't have EMD. So Gators come in, and here's what they get in the very beginning. They get corporate credit training, they get access to capital, and they also get access to PACE's capital. Think about all the wholesalers that are doing thousands and thousands and thousands of transactions all over the country that need earnest money. You don't have to be the wholesaler. You have to be the person that brings the EMD. The average EMD deal put up about $1,000 to $3,000. A return usually between $1,500 and $3,000 back. Eric, the first Gator deal you did, how much money did you make?
1,000.
Okay, you made 1,000. How many Gator deals have you done? 12? Mm-hmm. What was the most amount of money you made on a Gator deal?
I think 1,000.
And you're putting up 1,000 or maybe $2,000 is all you're putting up, right?
Yeah, a couple thousand.
A couple $1,000. Okay, so Eric, my camera guy, if he can do it in his part-time, I keep him pretty busy. He did 12 deals in just the last probably handful of months. There are so many EMD deals out there for you to tap into. You didn't have to cold call. You didn't have to pull a list. You didn't have to learn how to negotiate. You didn't have to do the follow-up. You didn't have to be good at sales. All you have to do is bring money to a transaction. Remember that. I'm gonna bring that up multiple times. All you had to do was bring money to a transaction. We help you in Gator build your corporate credit. We give you access to capital, and we give you access to my money. So if you go get an EMD deal inside of Gator, I will give you my money to go do the deal. You don't have to have your own money.
So that's a pretty amazing reason why getting started with Gator is a very, very easy path. Now, here's another type of transaction. Wholesaler needs to double close. Why would a wholesaler need to double close? Double close is one of the ways that wholesalers are getting around the law. In Illinois, Arizona, other places, it's getting increasingly more challenging to wholesale real estate deals. Why? Because the National Association of Realtors doesn't like wholesalers. They want to get rid of wholesalers. And the best way to not be a wholesaler is to actually buy the property and then sell it to your buyer. This wholesaler needs double close money. Who can do double close money is a Gator. Okay, so let's imagine this. Our average double close transaction is about $400,000. Let's say that the $400,000 is needed for this wholesaler to double close. We can charge anywhere between 1 to 3 points. What does 1 to 3 points mean? It means percent. So we can charge anywhere between $4,000 to $12,000 for that wholesaler using our money for 1 day. 1 day. Our money goes to title, it comes back the next day, you get paid. Wholesaler, they had to cold call, text message, door knock, send out direct mail, do PPC, do all of these things. And you, the Gator, all you had to do is get access to my money and learn how to go and find that deal. And boom, you're the savior for that wholesaler. Okay, great. What about fix and flippers? Fix and flipper decides, I'm gonna buy the fix and flip from the wholesaler. Well, they're gonna need purchase money, right, to buy it. They're gonna need what we call hard money. They're gonna need renovation money, also called hard money. And then they're gonna need gap lending, which we call Gator 3.0. In all situations, right here, a Gator gets all of this money by joining Gator. So again, I give you not just corporate credit, I give you access to capital. So I will give you access to all the hard money that the fix and flippers in the whole entire country need. It doesn't even have to be your money. It could be my money or the money I give you access to. You don't have to fix and flip the property. You don't have to find the deal, manage the contractors, be licensed, deal with finding the buyer. You don't have to deal with any of that stuff. You just bring the money to the table and none of it has to be your money. That sounds too good to be true. This sounds like nobody could actually do this. You're just like making this up. Well, here's what I'll do. I'll give you a link to a video maybe on the screen to one of my students that did 19 deals in their first 60 days inside of Gator. That will give you insight. Just like a 10-minute video, you guys can see that. By the way, I have thousands of students doing those types of deals all over the country. It's like a blue ocean. I should say it's a green ocean, okay, for Gator. BRRRR strategy. How many people are using the BRRRR strategy or buying properties subject to seller finance? Anybody that wants to rent a property, anybody that wants to become a landlord, guess what they need? They need purchase money, they need renovation money, and they need gap lending. Guess what I bring to you? Yep, I bring you PACES capital, access to capital, corporate credit, that you don't ever actually have to have any of this money, and you could be the solution to everybody that invests using the BRRRR strategy, really any strategy to build their portfolio. You can be their money person. 10 years down the road, they go, I need to do a refinance. They're gonna need a new loan at lower rate, and they're gonna need gap money again. Guess what? I give all of that to you in the Gator program. So again, look at all these places that you get access to money and all these transactions that you get help. There's not a single point in a real estate transaction that needs money that Gator does not learn how to bring that money to the transaction and learn how to make money on that transaction. So think about this. Sub-2 students, my sub-2 students, they find the deals and Gators fund the deals. So they go out and they fund everybody's deals around the country. I can tell you right now that you probably know a flipper that has used money that came from me through a Gator that gave them that money. This has become a thing that we are doing all over the country. So whether you want to help people do EMD money, double close money, you want to help fix and flippers get their purchase, their renovation, or the gap money, you want to let BRRRR strategy lenders, millions of people, they need purchase, reno, and gap money, and they need to do refinances at some point in their career. If you were the person that could bring all that money to the point where you could make a full-time income off of this or even more, you can now see why starting with Gator is a really, really simple way to get your feet wet in real estate. So if you want to learn more about the Gator method, we have a live training coming up this week. You need to secure your spot. It gets filled out every single time I do a training. Secure your spot. There's a link down below. Come and see me. That training's at least an hour long. This YouTube video gives you a high level version of it, but I want to give you an hour long breakdown, whiteboard video, answer questions. There's a bunch of Q&A that goes on. I want to give you that training so you can see how you can get started in real estate using the Gator method. See you in the training.
Gator lending is a strategy to lend money to people and make a ton of money. So for example, just last week, let me give you guys a brief overview of what Gator lending is. There's 5 things I'm going to be teaching over the next 6 months in the Gator tribe. Okay, 5 things. Right now, we're just going to have a conversation about the first thing. I get people, wholesalers that come to me and they go, Pace, I need money for my earnest money. And I go, no problem. Well, let me back up. I'll give you guys a little bit of back history to this. Where Gator lending originally started was nearly 10, maybe a little bit longer than that years ago, when I was just a contractor. I was a general contractor, and I would hire painters and drywall guys and concrete guys, and I would have them do work and whatever else. I had a painter named Ruben Dominguez. Ruben Dominguez would come to me and he'd say, hey, Pace, one of my other clients wrote me a check for $6,000 to cover my payroll, but their check won't clear until following Monday. So Ruben Dominguez comes to me and he goes, hey, Pace, I need $6,000 and I need to cover my payroll on Friday. I go, okay, well, how much would you pay me in interest? He goes, well, if I can hold that $6,000 until Monday, I'll pay you $3,000 return. So essentially paying me $9,000, $6,000 to cover my loan, and $3,000 return. Guys, that's a 50% return in literally a weekend. That's $3,000. And I'm like, damn, all right. So that's Gator lending, okay? That's Gator lending, bringing a resource to people, not charging interest, but taking a chunk, right? Chomp, 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 chomp. Gator lending, taking a chunk. So I did this for probably a good year with Ruben, and then Ruben got on his feet, and I would make sometimes $3,000 in a weekend, $5,000 in a weekend. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. In fact, I paid for my wedding. I paid for my wedding with part of this. Then when I got into real estate, I started getting wholesalers coming to me and saying, Pace, I don't have earnest money for a transaction. Does anybody not know what earnest money is? Earnest money is when you get into a contract with the seller, right? You and the seller get into a contract. The contract is going to show. In fact, I could pull it up today, right now. I could pull it up on the document I'm going to give you guys. When you get into a contract with a seller, the seller is going to ask you guys to put $100 down to show that you're serious about their transaction. Sometimes $1,000, sometimes $5,000, and sometimes $10,000 to show that you're serious. So what happens is you take that contract, right? One of these contracts, and you go to a title company. You go, hey, title company, I'm starting this transaction with a homeowner. I now am in escrow. I've started the transaction. Well, on that contract, it's going to show how much you have as earnest money. So I started getting wholesalers coming to me and saying, hey, I don't have $1,000 to open up escrow, and the seller is wondering where my $1,000 is, and I don't have that $1,000. So I started loaning $1,000 to wholesalers, and they would then pay me. They would pay me $3,000, $5,000, depending on the transaction. And I'm like, man, I literally loaned $1,000 on a real estate deal. I didn't find the deal. I didn't find the buyer. All I did was fund the $1,000 earnest money, and I got $3,000 in return. Literally tripling my money in like a 5-day period. So that's Gator lending. That's one of the 5 things I'm going to teach on Gator lending. One of the 5 things. Then you get people that also come to you and they go, Pace, and by the way, for anybody that doesn't understand this about wholesale in the next 5, maybe 7 years, wholesale will be outlawed nationwide. Arizona just passed a law that stated you have to let your seller know. Okay, you have to let your seller know that you are wholesaling their property. So what's that going to do to wholesalers? It's going to force them to purchase the property and then double close or sell that property like 12 hours later. So last week, I had somebody in the Gator community come to me and go, Pace, I need $24,000. I go, why do you need $24,000? And they said, well, because I have 5 lots that I have under contract with the seller. I don't want the seller to know how much money I'm making. And I have a buyer that's going to buy 4 lots from me. Okay. So the seller is selling me 5 lots at $24,000. I need to close escrow on that deal, own those 5 lots for an hour. And then I can turn around and then sell sell 4 of those lots, keeping 1 to myself for $50,000. And so that's what he went and did. So he made $26,000 plus kept a piece of land in the process. He got a free piece of land and $26,000 wholesaling. He didn't wholesale. He actually double closed. He used my $24,000 to close his transaction with the seller and then turn around and sold that again to somebody else at $50,000. Okay. I go, great. How much can I make for my $24,000? And guys, where did I get my $24,000? Where did I get my $24,000? From my line of credit from Prime Corporate Services. So what I'm trying to do with this community is show you how I did this by building a business line of credit over the next 6 months together. So I didn't use, so there's people in here that go, I don't have $24,000 because that's your mindset. Your mindset is I can only do what I have with my existing resources. Guys, there are a lot of people out there making a lot of money with other people's money. Stop with the limited mindset. I'm trying to teach you guys how to build corporate credit to go out and do loans like this. So how much money did I make? By the way, this just happened. Okay? This just happened. I didn't make $5,000. I made $4,000, but I made the $4,000 literally. I wired the money in the morning and I got the money back that same exact day, and I made $4,000 in less than 12 hours on a line of credit. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to teach you guys, number one, I'm trying to give you guys the paperwork. I'm first and foremost, I'm trying to give you guys the business strategy that exists. And I've just showed you 2 of the 5 today. Just showed you them. I haven't told you where to find I haven't given you the paperwork. I haven't given you where to find these opportunities. I haven't shown you how to fill out the paperwork. I haven't showed you how to do the conversations, any of that stuff. None of it. So the people who have taken action on Prime Corporate Services, if I go to a mechanic and I say, hey, will you teach me how to fix a car? And the mechanic says, yeah, Pace, what car do you have? And I go, I don't have a car. What? So here I am trying to teach you guys how to build a lending business, but you guys don't have a line of credit. You guys are trying to use your own cash. Guys, I'm not trying to teach you how to use your own cash. That's not what I'm trying to teach. I'm trying to teach you guys how to build corporate credit so that you guys can get to a point where you have what I have. Access to over $1 million. I can fund deals in 2 minutes because I have lines of credit that Prime Corporate Services has helped me build. By the way, I'm gaining equity on a deal. Check this out. I'm gaining 50% equity on a deal this coming week. Somebody else found the deal. They're going to turn it into an Airbnb, and they're like, I need $22,000. It's a seller finance deal. It's one of my students. They need $22,000 to turn this into an Airbnb. It's a 0% seller finance deal. And they're like, I need $22,000 to make this deal work. Can you be my lender? I go, I'll be your partner. You give me 50% equity and I'll be your lender. I took 50% ownership of a deal. 50% ownership of a deal because somebody needed the capital. And where am I going to pull the $22,000 from? I'm pulling my $22,000 from a line of credit. It's not my money.
You know what people's biggest problem is? They need a step-by-step solution to anything they're trying to do. If you're trying to do creative finance or you're trying to do Gator, right? A lot of people love Gator because Gator is a quick way to get started in real estate without having to own the real estate. You can insert yourself into somebody's deal. The problem is so many people have gone to high school, grown up in a family, gone to a job, gone to college, gone to a church that everybody tells you what to do, when to do it, why to do it, when not to do it, and when you can take vacation, when you clock in, when you clock out, what time you should go to lunch. And you grow up one day and you say, I want more out of my life. But the problem is you don't know how to go create steps for yourself. Welcome to the show, Nathan Barnes. Nathan, where'd you come from?
I'm from Oregon, Lebanon, Oregon originally.
Lebanon, Oregon. They don't want to say Lebanon over there, they say Lebanon. So here's how Nathan came into my world. A couple of days ago, I said, hey, I need help around the house. I need help running errands. I need like a young dude who's untethered, doesn't have a wife, doesn't have kids, that can come in and just bang stuff out for me and also jump into my lending business. And I put this on Instagram stories and he DMs me. He's like one of the first couple of people that DM me. And it turns out he just moved to Arizona a day before I put this on the Instagram stories. He says, yo, I'm a carpenter. I have 4 years of experience as a carpenter. I'm a hardworking dude. I'd love to get involved. Now, turns out he already knew who I was. Obviously he was following me. He also was super interested in Gator. And so I said, dude, why don't we, from like 8 o'clock in the morning till let's say 2 p.m. in the afternoon, you could just do pace stuff, right? Like drop the truck off here, go here, drive up to Montana. He's gonna actually, all this stuff here, he's gonna take up to my Montana house in the van that we have. So all the miscellaneous things I have going on from 8 o'clock to 2 p.m., he's going to do pace stuff. And I then said, hey, would you like to go from like 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. and be involved in my lending business? And he says, dude, I actually was like super interested in Gator, but I watched a bunch of videos a year and a half ago, and I never took any action. Why didn't you take any action?
Just made excuses and didn't know what to do, really, I guess, is part of it.
The reason why people don't take action is because, number one, it's uncomfortable for change, right? Change is super uncomfortable. Number two, you become comfortable by having a job, maybe Instacart. A lot of people, like younger people, they're running around doing Uber and all of those types of things. Once your bills are paid, you're like, okay, I can chill, I can relax, I can not worry so much, right? So change is uncomfortable. And then your comfort, it's not until you're uncomfortable or something bad happens, maybe like your engine blows up in your car and you go, dude, I need more money or else I won't have a car, that it forces you out of that situation. But really, more important than all of those two combined is most people need a step-by-step solution. And not only do they need a step-by-step solution, but they also need a step-by-step solution that fits their lifestyle. Day number one, what do you think we're gonna do? Before we start doing outreach, before we start talking to people, what's the first thing we should be doing?
Probably setting up an LLC.
Setting up an LLC. When we're dealing with money and we're dealing with our reputation, every time we're talking to people, we are branding ourselves, right? So even inside of a Facebook group, it might not seem like it when you're like, oh, hey, I'm Nathan. I would be saying, hey, I'm Nathan from blah, 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 LLC, or I'm Nathan from blah, blah, blah company. I'd love to bring money to the table. Now again, in Gator, we teach people how to fund deals without any of their own money, but your client doesn't need to know that, right? So let's say Nathan, first thing he's gonna do is we are going to get him set up with startwithprime.com. Now, Prime is the company that sets up all of my LLCs. They make sure that my corporate structure is set up properly for Gator. What you'll do is you'll book a 1-hour session with them, and they will show you exactly how to set up the LLC properly, what LLC name is available for you. They'll also tell you what state to set it up and how to keep your name on it, or maybe sometimes you want to keep your name on the LLC depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Have that conversation with startwithprime.com. All right, so underneath startwithprime.com, you're going to come up with a great name that you are not going to get sick of. B, do not use your personal name or your family name ever on your LLC, meaning don't call your LLC what I used to call my LLC, which was PJ Morby LLC. Truly, that was my LLC name. So dumb. It caused all sorts of problems. Do not put your name on the name of the LLC. All right. For me, I think a good Gator business name would be something like nathanhasmoney.com. Right? Simple.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's available, go, you got to buy the domain. So here you go. C, we're going to get a domain, and we're going to get an email. Okay. Why are we going to get a domain and an email? Sounds common sense, but let's talk about it.
So eventually you could get a website?
Yep. So we want to get a free website. When you get into Gator 2.0, you're really going to want to have this domain name because you'll be able to give people hard money without using any of your own. You'll want to have a domain name, okay? So you'll come up with a great domain name that matches your LLC. Obviously not PJ Morby LLC. It could be, I'm just going to make this up. You'll come up with something else. But let's say nathanhasmoney.com, right? Eric, what's yours? Do you have erichasmoney.com? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's kind of cool. erichasmoney.com. Make sense?
Yeah.
So now you're marketing yourself. Every time you're posting in a Facebook group, every time you're commenting on somebody else's Facebook group, you're marketing yourself, marketing yourself, marketing yourself, marketing yourself. Some people think outreach in the Gator Facebook group is just about connecting. It is connecting, but it's also reminding people who you are and what the name of your company is, right? Okay, so we need startwithprime.com. We need a name that should not have your personal name necessarily in it. That should not be the name of your company, but it could be the name of your domain if you wanted it to be. Next step is we want to go into the Gator Facebook group. And on the first day, okay, on the first day that you're in Gator, what you want to do is spend 45 minutes in the Facebook group doing an intro and saying, hey, I'm here to connect. Here's my email. Reach out to me. I'd love to connect with you, see what your goals are, see if I can if I run into something I can't fund, I'd love to collaborate with people. And what you do is you then start creating a Google spreadsheet. This Google spreadsheet should have multiple tabs on it. okay? You'll have, here's your Google spreadsheet, right? You know what Google spreadsheets looks like, obviously. At the bottom, you're gonna have tabs. And this is gonna be your CRM in the very beginning because we don't wanna spend a ton of money. Okay, CRM stands for Customer Relationship Manager. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yep.
One of the tabs I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say Gators. Do you wanna collect other Gators? Why do I wanna collect other Gators in the community?
So you can Gator wrestle people?
There you go, you can accumulate. Like, he's got a deal right now, Eric has a deal right now that I'm doing, 13 grand, you heard about it already? He's like, I don't want to be in that risky situation. I go, I'm okay because I'm an really super educated Gator. Obviously, I created the Gator Method. I'll put myself in that risky situation, and if we make money, we'll split it. So it's not just about money, it's also about Gators have different capital, they have different risks, they have different skills, and they have different relationships, and they also have other resources that you might need to have access to. And so as you're putting these names together and you're connecting with somebody every day, you're spending a couple minutes every day in the Facebook group, you're going in accumulating and trying to build your Gator spreadsheet. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Now another tab on your spreadsheet is going to be deals. All right, now your deals are gonna be every little deal that you look at before it goes to dead, okay? Meaning, let's say you blast out in the email or the Facebook group or other Facebook groups or other ways that we're gonna find Gator deals besides the Gator Facebook group. Let's say I start putting my name out there and I start getting emails into my inbox. I wanna take those deals, put them onto my sheet, and basically organize them for the day, because I'm only gonna work on this an hour a day. I'm gonna organize them for the day, I'm gonna look at those deals and see which one I wanna move on to the next tab, which is maybe. The next tab is no. The next tab is gonna be active. Okay, those are your 5 tabs that you wanna work on. If you wanna add some extra tabs, you can do that, that's your own style, whatever. But you're gonna look at the deals that come into your email inbox, you're gonna put them all into the spreadsheet, and you're gonna say that you're gonna mark it in your spreadsheet as these deals right here were day number 1, and you're gonna make a hard line on it. And then these ones were day number 2, and you're gonna make a hard line on it. And that's gonna help you track how many opportunities you looked at during that day. And there's gonna be some clerical, annoying stuff you have to do. A lot of tedious stuff. Totally get it, but you're okay with making money and doing tedious stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right, you look at those deals that come in. You then move the ones from deals to maybe that you're like, I like that. It's a good return, it's a dollar amount, it's a speedy time. Okay, great. When we go into maybe, what are our next step? Well, you don't know underwriting, and you probably don't know how to underwrite yet, right?
No clue.
Okay, you have no clue. So we'll do that also in this series. We'll help out with underwriting and showing you how to look at these deals, and you'll go, Pace, I've got 7 deals. Why is this good? Why is this bad? And I'll help you out, okay? Then the ones that we are, obviously that's a no. Like, that's absolutely not. Why would I do that deal? That's craziness. I will absolutely put that on a sheet of no. Why is that important to track my no's? It's important to track my no's because I want to be able to look back on these and also let other people look back on the spreadsheet. Think about giving access to this spreadsheet to somebody after 90 days. Maybe not your Gator list, because you want to keep those relationships yourself.
Yeah.
But the deals, the maybes, the no's, so that people can go, look at all these deals he looked at. And as you're looking at these deals, you should be recording yourself underwriting those particular deals. Take the video, upload it to a Google Drive, and that link goes into the no's, the maybes, and the active of like, hey, we have an active deal. Here's why it's an active deal. Here's what we learned. Here's what I'm going to make. And you document and document and document. The 1 hour of underwriting and skills, what if you say, well, Pace, I don't have time for that. How can we solve that problem? It's a really simple solution that now you're inside of Gator, you have this solution. Tell me, what is the best thing to do? Let's say you literally don't have any more than 60 minutes a day.
Use other people.
Squat up, right? You want to go and find another Gator. This could be Eric. Eric's probably like, hell yeah. So you go and get another Gator to spend their 1 to 2 hours a day underwriting the deals that you did the outreach for, right?
Smart.
You compile, you tee these things up, and you create a conveyor belt. So you go, I'm in this an hour a day. If it gets too overwhelming for you, that you don't have that extra hour, then there's no excuse. You should just go find another Gator that's like, I know how to underwrite, I know how to look at deals. Okay, so when we talk about Gator 1.0, Gator 1.0 is joint venturing on people's EMD deposits. What's my security? Anybody have questions that we could deviate to the side comments for a second? Everybody's like, no, Pace, you've covered this 1,000 times. All right, awesome. So it's good for a refresher. Everybody understands this. This is perfect. So what happens is the wholesaler now still makes their money, right? They still make their, after the transaction's done, let's say I get my $1,000 back out of this, plus I make $3,000. So I walk away with $4,000 out of that transaction with $3,000 of profit. The wholesaler makes his $12,000 and he kept the relationship, he kept the deal, all that kind of stuff intact, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay. Here's one of the coolest things about Gator 1.0. There's two things that typical wholesalers don't have. Number one, earnest money.
Yep.
Number two, buyers.
Yep.
Because they're so hell-bent on focusing on finding sellers and getting contracts that then they get a contract and they go, oh my gosh, I actually got a contract.
What do I do now?
What do I do now? Yep. And now they're like, I don't have a buyer, but I have a 10-day inspection period. So very smart Gators build a business that's not just about bringing money to the transaction. They actually go and find the buyer and they work out a deal where they have additional agreements. So for me, in my first month of doing this, when I made my 40 grand, I was making money off of helping them find buyers.
Yep.
So it was a really great way to build trust with the wholesaler and saying, hey, if you don't have a buyer yet, let me cover the EMD and let me go help you find a buyer and we can just JV on the deal. I'll take 50% of the deal.
Right.
So now I'm leveraging myself into somebody else's deal. Yep. Now, I wasn't smart enough at this time. I was using my own cash.
Gotcha. I
was using my own money. And then I had so many of these going on. I had like 30 of these going on at any given time. And I was doing them in other states as well, because at that point I ventured into like Atlanta and North Carolina.
Nice.
It became a problem for me and my cash flow. I'm like, I need access to capital.
Right.
Okay, so what was my first step? My first step actually should have been Gator 0.0, which is Gator wrestling. So if I don't have a line of credit, I don't have capital, what I did is I said, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a Gator community where people who do have lines of credit or people that have been in the community for a significant amount of time. Guys, in the comments, how many of you guys have got credit cards, lines of credit, trade lines from being in Gator? Okay, so you'll see hundreds of people that will say, I have access to capital because that's what we built in Gator. We built the ability for you to come in. Let's say you're brand new to Gator today on day one. What you're going to get inside of Gator, and you're going to hear this a lot inside of the Gator community, people are like, oh, I'm waiting for my first line of credit. I'm waiting for my this. I'm waiting for my that. So I can do my Gator 1.0 transactions.
Right.
That's no excuse for them not to be doing transactions. They should just be going in and finding the more seasoned Gators and saying, hey, Gator who's been inside of the community for 6 months, who obviously has lines of credit, I found a wholesaler that needs us to fund $1,000. Okay? Okay, so we understand what Gator 0 is.
Yep.
Any questions about paperwork? Any questions about how do I protect myself? Any questions about Houston? Here's a big one. If I go to Texas, I go to Utah, I go to other states, there's a very, 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 very important thing that we have to do when we're doing paperwork. Okay? And here's what you have to do. If I'm working with a title company, you're my transaction coordinator.
Okay.
And I say, hey, Jade, I've got a deal that we're going to joint venture. $3,000 of EMDs coming out of our line of credit, and we're going to get $5,000 back in return in the next 10 days. What I want you to do is step number one, go, what paperwork was used to sign the contract with the seller? Why? Because a lot of times, as you know, agents are smarter than wholesalers.
For sure.
And an agent's going to go, I'm going to try and do a non-refundable earnest money, or I'm going to try and do a no inspection on the house because they said it's as is. And so I'm going to make the inspection really short. I'm going to make it so the EMD gets released even if they cancel on the deal. So step number one, before we deploy our capital into the deal, is we need to
look at the contract.
There you go. Look at the contract. Now we have rules inside of Gator. I've already trained on this. We have deep training of like, here's the 20 steps. We're not going to go through all of that today. But look at the contract. Make sure that the contract, number one, states that there's an inspection period and that if I cancel, I get my inspection money, or I get my earnest money back.
Yes.
Okay? If I get engaged to your daughter and we cancel this arrangement, we cancel this marriage, I want my freaking ring pop back.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Heck yeah.
The freaking thing was grape. I'm not letting a grape ring pop go. Okay? I need to make sure that that's an understanding, because title companies can be fickle about this, as you've known.
Yes.
Of like, no, we're releasing this to the seller. Hold on a second. It says in the inspection period that if I release, or I'm sorry, if we cancel during the inspection period, I get my earnest money back.
Yes. So you want to not only make sure it's in the contract, but that title understands the contract.
Oh my gosh, this is the problem with you. You're so smart. You've been doing this for so long, and this is why it's so great that you're in here, is because other people will look at my instructions and they don't understand how important that is. So I always tell people, call title and introduce yourself. And you want to tell them the relationship of who you are.
Yep.
Hey, my name is Pace Morby. I'm actually bringing the earnest money to the transaction, and I'm going to be joint venturing with the person who opened escrow. When you distribute the funds on the assignment fee, if you look at this JV agreement, this joint venture agreement, which obviously is a contract that's in Gator, we spent money with Sean St. Clair, our attorney, to draft all these documents.
Yep.
We've updated them 85 times as we've learned new things, and it's evolved into basically a perfect contract. Here's my joint venture agreement that states, it's kind of like commission instructions. Here's my commission instructions. When you distribute the $15,000 assignment fee to Joe Blow, I want to make sure that I get my $1,000 back plus my $3,000. He gets the other $12,000.
Yes.
You want to verify that, and then more importantly, you want them to reply in email that they understand.
Yes. So we actually call them, have the conversation, and then we open an email thread with both buyer, seller, everyone involved in the transaction and title.
Perfect.
Hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Please leave all communication here. Reply
Right.
all.
And are we all on the same page? Are we all understanding what's going on?
I need to know this, this, and this. Please respond to these numbers respectively.
This is why having transaction coordinators in our community is so critically important, is because transaction coordinators are the organized people. How many people on the side, how many people are here? We have 400 people here today. How many people here are horrible at paperwork? Just say, hey dude, if you're horrible at paperwork. Jeff, I'm going to venture to say you're horrible at paperwork.
She handles all my paperwork.
100%. Isn't it funny how we find our equal and opposite, right? Do you actually enjoy the organized part of your job?
I actually love creating order and organization where chaos was previously.
So you were born for this.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So guys, do we understand why transaction coordinators exist? Jade is a transaction coordinator. I can go out and go get more deals. That's my job. My job is to go be a warrior, go out in the field and go get more deals. Your job is to make sure we take care of the castle.
Yep. Get it to the finish line.
Right. So a lot of times, if you think about it, the warrior leaves the castle, and if there's nobody to protect the castle, the estate falls to rubble, right?
Absolutely.
So you are in charge of the castle. You're in charge of the estate. You're in charge of the business. I'm running out and just trying to get more prisoners of war, essentially, more deals, right? So number one, look at the contract. Number two, call title and intro the relationship, reply an email, and make sure that they understand, which is what you do. Something that's very important to note for you and other people, because I know you have a lot of experience here in Arizona real estate, but in places like Texas and Utah, they have a mutual release state, which means the seller and the buyer have to both mutual decide on who gets the EMD.
Yes.
So what we do is we want to make sure that the seller or the agent signs a release. This is also paperwork we have inside of Gator that says the buyer, if they decide to cancel, this is now giving the seller is now giving us permission right now in the inspection period. I don't want to deal with that later.
Right. So we have a form within Gator that they fill out. We always clarify with the title company, do they have their own form that they require?
Gosh dang it. Have you watched the training, Jade?
I have purposely not watched your training.
Okay, perfect.
Because I wanted
I
to
love
learn
it.
from,
I love it. Okay, but you know the documents.
I know the documents.
This is great. You know how many times people will skip over that training? That's, in my opinion, the most important part is saying, in fact, I had a wholesaler that came, not a wholesaler, but had a Gator that came into Gator community about a year ago, and he says, I'm about to lose $30,000 of EMD I put up on a $3 million deal. I go, okay, did you look at the contract? He goes, yes, I did. I go, okay, perfect. Did you call the title company and introduce yourself and tell them who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing it? And he says, no, I did not. I go, so they have no clue. And did you verify that it's a mutual release date? And he goes, I did not. I go, so you skipped the training. He goes, the training's not there. I'm like, bro, it's right here. It's a 2-hour training. That whole entire thing on how to do that, the paperwork, et cetera, everything that's associated with it.
Yep.
And he goes back in there and he goes, yeah, you're right. I skipped over it. I skipped over the training. Perfect. And that's training I'll never put in, obviously, on YouTube. The contracts are not accessible. Like, all of that training is just inside. But I love that you know this. This is the problem. You're so smart. So number 3 is verify the release.
Yep.
What are the terms of the release? If I cancel during my inspection period, is the inspection period on Thanksgiving and nobody's in the office? So does that mean that if I just send an email on Thanksgiving Day and nobody's there to receive it, that I have technically canceled? Well, I don't know. I think that would be open to interpretation, right?
Sure.
I don't want anything open to interpretation. So this is what happened. He says, well, I did cancel. And I go, perfect. This is now coming on a year because now Thanksgiving's coming around, right? For sure. He says, I go, dude, what day did you cancel? Was it on a Saturday? He goes, well, it was actually on Thanksgiving. I'm like, you didn't look at your inspection period and what day it landed on? How did you know it didn't land on Saturday or Sunday when nobody's in the office? How do you know it didn't land on a holiday? He goes, we didn't even look. So we got to verify the release. We got to verify all this information. 1, this is why we have transaction coordinators doing this stuff. And 2, if you don't have a transaction coordinator because you're greedy and you want to make all the money, then at least make sure you do all of these things.
Right.
Okay?
And realize that all of these things take a ton of time.
They do take time because it's not like the title rep or the escrow officer just sitting there waiting for you to call them and they're available 100% of the time.
Nor are they always good about returning phone calls or emails.
They're busy.
Yeah.
And it's chaotic.
Yeah. You got to
Cool.
stay on top of them.
Okay, everybody learning a couple things? This transaction, wow, Molly has a flow chart you can follow now. Perfect, yeah, Josh Hobbs knows that, yeah.
It's amazing.
It
we
is
just talked
awesome.
about it on our call yesterday.
Perfect. So these are things that are not on YouTube, but I just want to make sure that we're doing a refresher and you and I are on the same page.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you guys went over this on the call yesterday inside of Gator?
We went through the flow chart. Molly has an amazing Lucid chart that walks you through, like, if this is the transaction, this is the paperwork you need.
Perfect.
Once you have this paperwork, you go here.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, if this is something you're watching on YouTube or something that my team cuts and does whatever, this is such surface level information. The flow chart and how things work and the paperwork is, I can't even tell you how much I've spent in contracts. The contracts alone on this are not just written by an attorney. They're written by an attorney that has handled these transactions over and over and over. We failed multiple times and we had to fix the contracts where we failed. I haven't had to update these contracts in probably 6 months because there's been no issues, but it took a long time to perfect it. It took a long time to perfect the flow. It took a long time to find a Molly and a Jade and an Allison and Alyssa and all these people that know how to do these transactions to educate other transaction coordinators. The YouTube training is nothing. It's the YouTube training or the stuff that maybe you guys have seen out on YouTube is such surface level information. It's just there to tell you what exists and what opportunities there are, okay? So now, Jade, if I'm a Gator, I know that as a transaction coordinator, you don't necessarily care about this, but I want to point something out as a transaction coordinator. This is the biggest opportunity for them is that they're not following this. They're coming in and only lending the EMD. They're not taking any time to go and find the buyer and go and make another chunk of money.
Right.
So if you are the transaction coordinator or you're training transaction coordinators, I want you to make sure that you highlight that opportunity to the Gators and go, guys, don't forget, you should be double dipping on Gator 1.0. You should be putting the EMD in, JVing on the assignment fee, and also finding the buyer.
Absolutely.
Okay? Does everybody agree with that? Give me a yes. You understand that? I have 380 people in here. Give me a yes. Okay, so I see a lot of the common mistakes is that a lot of these Gators are not using their paperwork. And then they come back to me. There's a couple of things that happen. They don't vet the deal. They don't call the title company. They don't use the proper paperwork. They skip over the training. In fact, Alexis Morgan, I'm talking to you, Alexis Morgan. She skipped over all of the training and she told Abraham Gray, she says, Pace, or Abraham, I've done all the training. Pace is missing this, this, and this. And Abraham comes back to me and goes, hey, can we have a sit-down meeting to talk about all the things I think you should add to Gator? I go, sure. They fly out from Atlanta. I'm not making this up. They sit right here in the studio and we start talking about all the things that we are missing in Gator. And I pull up the laptop and go, so you missed this 2-hour training that went through it and the paperwork that's attached? She goes, when did you add that? And I go, 14 months ago. And this goes on for an hour and a half. And Abraham's like, dude, we literally flew 3.5 hours
to have this conversation
when you could have just watched the training. And she's like, I got to tell you the truth. I only watched enough training so that I could go out and get a deal done.
Which I have to say is massive Gator mentality.
Massive Gator mentality.
Yes.
It's very much. So
Yes.
I'm hoping
Give
that
me the bare minimum and I'm going to run with it.
right. And then what they'll do is they'll go, oh, the training is it's like, dude, do you know how much training we've done? We've been training for a year and a half. We have 5, 7, 8 Zooms a week. We have Jake Villarette 3 days a week. We have the transaction coordinators sometimes once, sometimes twice a week. We have Abraham Gray. We have me. We have PCS. We have all these trainings, and the Gators skip over all of it.
Yes.
And they go, I got a deal. And then they go, I lost $3,000. There's a possibility that people lose their money because they don't follow instructions.
Right. Or that they never get to the finish line
Right.
because they didn't know how to overcome the objections or the problems within the transaction.
I hired you. I brought you on the team, the dream team.
Love our dream team.
You are Scottie Pippen. So you'll see a lot of
Robin.
these problems pop up. And so I want you to make sure you have to reiterate. And I have to remind you that the Gators come in and instead of, this is the craziest thing ever. I'm on a conversation, I'm in a Q&A a couple of weeks ago. And we have somebody comes in and he goes, man, I'm really struggling. I open escrow on these deals and I've been struggling with this for 2 months. I open escrow and then the deal falls apart. And I really, really wish I could just get a deal done. I'm like, okay. And basically, I find out he's not doing anything. I ask him a question. He goes, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I go, didn't you watch the training? He goes, oh, no, I haven't watched that yet. Oh, I haven't watched that yet. Oh, I haven't watched that. And this goes on for like 15, 20 minutes. I go, what do you do for a living and how much money do you make? He tells me what he does for a living. He goes, I make $180,000 a year. I go, how long did it take for you to get to $180,000 a year in your job? He goes, well, I have a 6-year degree. I go, that's not what I asked. How long did it take for you to get to $180,000 a year? He goes, well, I got a 6-year degree. I go, that's not what I asked. But if we're stuck on the degree thing, let's have this conversation. After 6 years, how much money were you making at your job once you got hired? He goes, $90,000 a year. Cool. How long did it take for you to go from 90 to 180?
Right.
He says 10 years. I go, okay, so it took you 16 years to get to a point where you can make $180,000 a year, but you won't take 5 hours and watch the training that would have kept all your deals together.
Yep.
Guys, what is it about people that have access to training but just don't find it important? They go, oh, I got the paperwork, I got the thing, I'm gonna go get under contract. It's impatience, right? Okay, cool. So this is a common thing. I see a ton of successful deals. I just saw somebody posted in the Gator Facebook group, they'd done their 50th Gator deal this year,
Dang.
which is
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Amazing. You know what they said? On the first 10, they did everything wrong,
That's how you learn.
I guess. Or you could just watch the training.
You could.
You could just watch the training. But what they said is I leveraged a transaction coordinator for my first 10 transactions. They did everything the right way. I didn't have to make any of the mistakes. They kind of walked me through it. So guys, my suggestion is work with top tier TCs to make sure that the TCs that are trained by Molly and Jade and Allison and all the other girls are actually doing things the right way. Okay. Do you know what Gator 2.0 is?
No.
Okay.
I'm waiting to learn today what Gator 2.0 is.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so you are going to learn something today.
Yes.
Have I taught you anything yet?
No, yes, absolutely.
I mean, besides the fact that I had to tell you where Gator came from and why it's important.
Yep.
Okay. So let's talk about this just real quick. I think it would be a bad thing if I talked about Gator wrestling and I didn't talk about some of the people I've done this with. Danny Gish, I've done a bunch of YouTube videos with her. Girl named Danny Gish. She's awesome. She's a Gator and she's given me money before when I'm tapped out on money. And then I find out that Danny has never actually given me any of her money. It was another Gator she went to and she split the fees. So guys, are we all aware that we should be working with each other and doing Gator deals together instead of just waiting for lines of credit?
Absolutely.
Okay, the lines of credit, how long do you think lines of credit will take for me to get to a substantial amount of money that I don't need anybody else's cash?
I would say at least 6 months, probably 18.
Love it. 6 to 18 months. It's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
Right, I want to do $1 million deal, it's probably gonna take me 18 months plus, right?
Absolutely.
If I want to do a $10,000 deal, probably 3 months, right? Do you know how I can get money off of a credit card?
Off of a credit card? No.
Plastique.com. So if I go to plastique.com, I can invoice my credit card company, pay the credit card, and get a $10,000 chunk of like a check. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty simple. Okay, so as we go and help people get lines of credit and credit cards through PCS, that's what people. It's one of the things that people get when they come into Gator. Okay, they get a coaching call every 2 weeks with a pro at Corporate Credit. They get coached along, and as long as we're in Gator and as long as Gator is going, there will be 2 calls a month for an indefinite amount of time.
So if I'm a Gator and I have questions in 6 months about my line of credit or the new laws and the new regulations and the new tactics and strategies, and somebody on my team is in charge of building that corporate credit, Gator gives you access to somebody every 2 weeks and common practices and knowledge for forever.
That's great, because those things change.
They do
all the
change,
time.
right? And you're going to learn all that, which is great. You and I are going to start an LLC from scratch, and we're going to build corporate credit from scratch.
Perfect.
You down for that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Could Jeff do that?
Heck yeah, I could.
You think he could?
He's way smarter than me.
Boom! Okay, so leverage somebody smarter than you is what you're saying. I love it. Okay, so Danny Gish was really smart. And I basically told people, I said, guys, start Gator wrestling. Like, wrestle with each other's capital, wrestle each other's deals, help each other out. Let's build community in here. And Danny Gish was really good at this. She would give me money on my sub 2 deal. So as a buyer, I'd go, crap, somebody needs $10,000 earnest money. I'd call Danny. I go, do you have 10,000? She says, yes. She didn't have 10,000. She just went to a different Gator, got their 10,000, and she says, hey, Pace is going to pay us $5,000 for funding his EMD and getting his transaction done. He's out of capital. Then Danny Gish waits for the transaction to get over, and she goes, just so you know, none of that was my money. It's like, that's freaking great.
She's genius.
She's smart. Danny Gish. Give Danny Gish some love. So when you're training Gators, here's what I want you to watch out for. You're going to be doing a weekly Zoom with the Gators, and you're going to have to remind them all the time. It doesn't matter. Do you know like industry-wide how many people actually watch the training in any mentorship?
Oh, probably less than 10%.
It's like 13%.
Oh, wow.
13% of people actually complete the training. In Gator, it's like 40% of people complete the training, which is like 3 times more than the industry standard.
Impressive.
But I always tell people, I go, I didn't build a mentorship. I built a community. So if you're the kind of person that doesn't like watching videos, then you should be linking with people that are doing deals.
Right.
Okay, so that's a big piece. It's like, hey, if you're going to skip the training, cool, that's up to you. But don't go do deals on your own. Go do deals with people that are proven, that are posting in the Facebook group. Now, here's another thing I want you to watch out for. The more successful our community becomes, sub 2, Gator, top tier TC, Astro, right? Those collective communities, what does that attract? It attracts a lot of amazing people, but it also attracts what?
A lot of negative attention.
A lot of negative attention from scammers, especially when money's flying left, right, and center.
Absolutely.
And people are funding 100 grand here, 100 grand there, et cetera. It's amazing to see how much money people are making, but it's really scary to see when people don't vet the person they're doing deals with. So I always tell people, hey, if you're gonna fund somebody and you are, if it's iffy, I don't care if they're sub 2, they're Gator, they're top tier TC, or if they're my grandma. Don't trust anybody.
You need to vet the person, and you need to vet the title company.
And vet the deal.
That too.
Okay, so I always
Obviously.
tell people, if you want to make sure, like I just paid a company called TrustVerifyInvest.com. It's a girl named Melissa Palmer. She's going through and vetting all of my assets. She's verifying all of my ownership in companies. She's verifying my net worth. She's going through my tax returns, and she's going to make it public knowledge and go, this is if you want to do business with Pace, here's his scorecard.
Right.
So if you are doing business with somebody and you're wondering, are they tried, true, and tested, then say, hey, wholesaler, or hey, Gator, you're asking me a question on the TC Zoom if I should do this deal or not. I got to ask you, did you verify the person? Did you verify the title company? And did you verify the deal?
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. If somebody says to you, Jade, I have a deal, but I don't have money to fund the earnest money for this wholesaler yet, what are the answers you should give to that person?
Connect with another Gator. Like
Okay.
Wrestle.
Gator wrestling, yep. So you'll also, most of the training you'll be doing, we'll be talking about those. And we're doing a ton of Gator 2.0 stuff right now, okay? So what is Gator 2.0? Any clue?
Waiting to hear.
Great questions today. This will be great. Kirsten Martinez says, I have heard conflicting answers. Do we or do we not need a JV agreement when doing simple Gator funding for EMD? No interest, just chunks. Without the JV, how would we have the ability to cancel the contract ourselves? Okay. Now, here's a challenge. I learned that because Gator is a relatively new strategy, I've been doing it for roughly 15 years, all the way back when I was a contractor, really did well with it about 9 years ago. And then about a year ago, decided to release it to everybody. Okay. So 100% of the time, you need a JV agreement, always. Sean St. Clair is the person who wrote the JV agreement. He's the attorney that drafted up all the agreements. He understands the strategy. He's the one that's watched 100 of those deals being done. We've consulted with him multiple times. 100% of the time, use a JV agreement. And now with that, okay, a couple of things that you'll run into. The paperwork that we've put together for the Gator tribe and the attorney that did the work, how much money did I personally spend on that paperwork so far? Does anybody know how much that paperwork has cost us and how much time it took us to put together? Okay, initially it was $7,000. Okay, a little over $7,000. He charges me every time we do a Zoom together. He's about $450 an hour. And we have done 4 or 5 different updates to that contract. I think we're somewhere around $12,000 or $13,000 for that contract, right? Right, as at this point, $12,000 or $13,000. It won't be the last time I update the contract. And why is that? So here's a question for you. If you're a real estate agent, how many times does your state contract satisfy exactly what your agreement with the buyer, the seller is? How many times do you have to do addendums to your contracts? What percent of the time when you do a deal? You have an addendum at title, you have an addendum to the purchase contract. Here, Debbie Lou says all the time. Jason says 90% of the time. Jose de Leon says 99% of the time. Belinda, often. Nate Buttry says 100%. Eddie G says 70%. Ike says 80% of the time. So let's put this, for the people that are not real estate agents, that don't understand how real estate and business operates. When I was brand new to real estate, I assumed that a contract was like set in stone and that nothing changes on the standard templated contract. But the longer I was in real estate, I realized, oh my gosh, these contracts are literally just framework. And every transaction I have ever done has an addendum, a change, an extension, or something marked out, updated, etc., depending on the state, depending on the seller, depending on the lender, depending on whoever's getting involved, right? You always have an update to a contract. So let's ask this question. Does the Gator contract satisfy every single, well, let's ask this question. Does a standard real estate contract given by the state of Arizona satisfy 100% of the real estate transactions out there? Or is there a time from time to time that state issued, state educated, state legislated contract has to be adapted, changed, addended? So why is it that the state has you constantly putting addendums on there? Shouldn't we be upset that contract that the state makes you use, shouldn't we be upset that they make you do addendums on your purchase contracts? Is this helpful for people that have never done a real estate transaction before? Are you understanding this? I want to put a nail in this coffin. Don't ever, ever, ever assume that a purchase contract, even the one in your state, okay? We had some, I want to say his name, but I also, I promised myself in 2023 I would pick on people less. I want to say his name, but he's like, your contract doesn't work in my state. Okay, well, the way that you assume my contract doesn't work in your state also suggests that your state contract for buying regular real estate also doesn't work in your state, because you had to make a couple adjustments or an addendum, or you had to cross something out and update it. 100% of the time I have ever done a transaction, write that down. 100% of the time I've done a transaction, we have had an addendum. We've had a separate agreement outside of the purchase contract. We've had to change the purchase contract. Whatever the title company. Oh, this is another good question. When I go to Costco, okay? When I go to Costco and I go to one lane versus a different lane, am I going to get the same quality of service even though I'm in the same establishment? Interesting. Yet some people in here that are brand new, they have these things at the same time. Guys, does anybody go to QT gas station over like a mobile or AM/PM? I go to QT because of how easy it is. I go to the cash register. They don't even ask if I want a receipt. Of course I don't want a receipt. It's 2023. Who the hell is saying yes to yes, I want a receipt? Who the hell are you? And do you have a fax machine also? Who the hell says, yes, I would like my receipt for my candy bar and my chips? Okay, you don't need a receipt. You have a bank account that has bank statements. Okay, so I go to QT because of the convenience. I will literally go out of my way to drive 3 miles to a QT, even if there's a Chevron, an AMPN. Does anybody else have that in their life? Like where you want to eat, what grocery store you go to, what gas station you go to? Give me a yes if you guys have something like that in your life. Yet some of you guys will complain when one title company or 2 title companies or 3 title companies doesn't want to do what you want to do. There are literally, I'm not exaggerating, there are literally more title and escrow companies in your city, in your state than Starbucks. I have a dozen title companies in every state that will do subject to deals, seller finance deals, novation agreements, lease options. They'll do Morby methods, et cetera. But then if I call a random one and I go, hey, do you know what a Morby method is? The majority of them don't even know what a sub 2 is. Yet that's the only type of purchase I've bought in the last 7 years. I'm only buying sub 2 and seller finance deals. So if I call somebody who makes $40,000 a year sitting at an escrow office, do I expect them to know how to do everything in real estate? No. Guys, your job as somebody who makes money is to learn skills. And one of the skills you have to learn is finding other professionals to do work with. It's one of the skills. Any real estate agents in here absolutely refuse to do business with a title company that has screwed up over your client in a regular cash purchase transaction on a house? Anybody in here? You cut them. In fact, if somebody comes to you tomorrow and says, oh, hey, let's do a deal today. I got to open with this title company. You're going to go, oh, hell no. I am never doing business with those people again. Have that expectation when you are a business owner. It's the same reason I go to one Home Depot in the Valley. The one on Country Club. I don't know why, but some Home Depots are way more contractor focused versus homeowner focused. And I'm not going to the homeowner focused one, I'm going to the contractor one. So the expectation of title companies, closing attorneys, Home Depots, gas stations, banks, we all understand it's the same thing. But when people jump into real estate for the first time, they forget the fact that you navigate your life to focus on the gas station you enjoy, the food places you enjoy, the grocery places you enjoy, the gym that you enjoy going to, right? All these convenient places. I like to go to a sushi spot up in Scottsdale instead of one by my house, because then my wife and I can go to the movie theater that I like that's clean. I will go 20 miles out of my way to have the convenience and the experience that I want. So this is a life lesson. Here's what you should assume. You should assume that 100% of the time you are in a contract with a Gator borrower, or you are Gator wrestling, or you are bringing on private money 100% of the time. Okay. And I'll give you another good analogy. 100% of the time, the contract needs to be addended, changed, updated, tweaked, adapted, and massaged to fit that situation and the state that you're in. You've been Gator wrestling is what I've been hearing.
Yes. And how I came about it was there's a couple of guys that buy, you buy a handful of my deals, and then there are other people that I sell my deals to that's outside of where your buy box is. So
Okay.
like these are like rural parts of Texas, and they want to buy them because they want to do wraps. So I said, okay, well, I already sold them like 3 or 4 deals already this year, and I've come to find out they're buying so many. And all the deals that they're buying, they're putting $5,000 earnest money. So they got like $25,000 earnest money stuck in the deal, and I send them another deal. Say, hey, here's a deal, $5,000 earnest money. They go, can you give me two more weeks because my money's tied up and I won't have money for the earnest money. So I'm the one wholesaling the deal to this buyer. But I say, hey, so you need an earnest money? Can I just connect you with? Can I just connect you with my Gator friend? And they just do the deal together, and they put the earnest money for my buyer.
Amazing. So let me rehash that for the people. You guys need me to break that down, or does everybody get that?
Are most people just not real estate here?
So here's the great thing about Gator. Okay, Gator, it was created for people that don't necessarily want to go out and call sellers, negotiate. They don't want to necessarily buy. I mean, do they want to buy and hold and create passive income? Of course. Right. But Gator is such a great stepping stone of like, I don't actually have to have any money. I don't actually have to have any deals. I don't actually have to have any buyers. And I don't actually have to know how to really negotiate or understand really a lot about real estate, except putting an EMD and covering somebody's thing and JVing with them.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Like, what if you only had to do that? How much money, let's say that you just did Gator full time. How much money do you think you could make monthly?
I could easily make $7-8 grand very easily.
Very easily.
I mean, that's like my return is $2 grand per deal on a $5,000 lending
for a couple of days.
Close of escrow, so like 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, cool. So you're making 40% return in 2 weeks. So let's do the math on that. Okay. You're making a 40% return on your investment. So you're putting in $5,000, covering their earnest money. You're getting $2,000 back in, let's say, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So 52 weeks in a year. Okay. Divide that by 2. That means 26. You're going to basically, if you only had $5,000 and you did that 26 times, your percent return, okay, would be 1,040,000% a year. Turn that
It
is.
is.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
So you can turn that over multiple times. And the great thing is you can do, 40% times 52 equals enough, is what Michael says.
Good enough return.
So, but it's smaller chunks of money, smaller amount of time.
Right.
Now, how can somebody go out and find wholesalers, right? Like, how do I find Gator deals to do?
So for me, a couple of ways I think I've done it was just kind of lending it for my buyers. But then all my free time, I just go in the Facebook group. I'm obviously in the private group, and I'm also part of the public group. So I just set them up chronologically. Every time I have a little bit of time, I just kind of scroll through all the people that are buying deals. So there are a lot. I mean, I can say there's at least 10 sub-2 deals going around in the private group every single day.
Every day.
A minimum.
What's so funny is people go, how do I get a sub-2 deal? I'm like, join sub-2. There's 10 deals a day that are happening.
Right.
Every day.
Right. So anytime people post about their deals, I say, hey, I just reached out to them. And then also there's a lot of people that are buying sub-2 deals.
Mm-hmm.
So I reach out to them in private. Like I just reached out to Anna. I just found out that she bought another sub-2 deal from one of my friends. I said, hey, can I lend on your next earnest money? She's like, yeah.
Okay. So what you're telling me is everything I teach, which is network with people, become friends, collaborate, and just have a good time with other people, is really the recipe.
Yeah. And it takes maybe 30 minutes of my day. Like it's like anytime I go to a bathroom, I just kind of go on Facebook.
You take 30-minute dumps is what you're saying?
Throughout the day.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Throughout the day.
Okay.
You know?
So it's definitely, if you're going to the bathroom, you're using both hands. So you're sitting down. Do you sit down to pee?
No, I use one hand.
Okay.
For both.
Do you wash your hands?
Of course I do.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay, so you can tell Kevin's like a little brother to me. We've been hanging out for a couple of years. Super proud of him. I would, if you could go down to one piece of advice that I've given you and maybe led you down the path of, what is it? Is it creative finance? Is it what's the best thing that's improved your life in the last couple of years?
I mean, you've keep telling everybody you have to become a leader because you prop up the leaders. So like Carolyn Byron, everybody knows. A lot of people know me. And the more and I get so many more opportunities like this. Like people come to me saying, hey, I just saw that you started lending money on earnest money. Here's a deal that I have. Like yesterday, I got a text from a Facebook message from somebody saying, hey, I just saw your Instagram story about you lending money. And I literally just took a screenshot of it. I did a 3-way group chat with me, the person that needed the money, and the person that has the money. And I said, hey, go figure it out. If you make money, great. Make sure you give me 30%. If you don't, that's fine. It took me 3 minutes.
Okay, it's not that easy.
No, it really is that easy.
Kevin, there's people in here that are like, no, it can't be that easy because I need an easy button. Is there a button I just push?
That was easy.
No, yeah, Gator. Yeah, Gator. It's crazy to me. So like this, in the last 2 months, I made $3,000 just like, and I think
like accidentally,
yeah.
Isn't it crazy? Like the Gator strategy, I created this strategy. Did not exist beforehand.
No.
Like people were doing it, but nobody knew anybody was doing it. And then I kind of perfected it and put paperwork together. And that's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
You have not been doing your paperwork properly.
Yeah.
And then of course you realize like we give the Gator paperwork inside of Gator. So you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in sub 2 and I got all the creative finance documents. I have all the things right. You have a transaction coordinator that does all that stuff for you.
Right.
And you've been doing Gator wrestling incorrectly.
Yeah. It's verbal. I just tell.
Is that a good way to be a Gator lender?
No.
So you joined Gator so that you could get access to the documents and the paperwork. And the great thing about that is that your TC can now come in and do the training on Gator, and they can go through and learn the paperwork and do all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Basically, if you're lending verbally, how high is the percentage that you're going to end up losing money by doing that?
Very high.
And you're just trusting people.
Right. No, but I'm trusting that they will do the deal and that they'll come in on the money that they make.
Oh, bro, I wouldn't give my grandma money and trust her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Do you guys have anybody in your life you would just like emphatically trust without paperwork? Anybody in here?
Doing it the wrong way.
This is truly, guys, I I hang out with a lot of people. I wouldn't give my mom or even my wife money without documenting it. I really wouldn't. I would make sure that I am documenting. I have a lien against the property, whatever I absolutely have to do. Always go through title. And so what's happening is I'm seeing this more and more and more, especially in the fix and flip world. I'm seeing a lot of people lend verbally to each other, not document anything the right way. The Gator documents, how much do you guys think the Gator documents have cost from our attorney, Sean St. Clair? The ones that you guys all have access to. The first run was $7,000. Okay. And then we upgraded them to Gator 2.0. And then we went back and added some addendums and cleaned up some little things that we learned and upgraded the documents. We spent $18,000 on those documents, yet you're going out of your way to avoid them.
Well, it's more of a, what's my...
Is it lazy?
That is, yeah, I'm lazy. I'm lazy. That's also part of it. But I've been doing a lot of wholesale deals, so it's just not in my radar.
But you have a TC.
I do, yeah.
So all you have to do is have your TC go and take all the paperwork training to make sure that now every time a deal is done, what you should be doing is because your TC is now on staff, right?
Yeah.
She's on salary. Not a lot of people are on salary or have salary, but like you'll make $2,000 every couple of weeks on one deal here, one deal there, whatever, like part-time, not even trying. Easily. And you could just have your TC go take the training for the paperwork. And then what you do in the future is you go, hey, Gator, and the person that's borrowing the money, here's my TC. She's going to wrap our JV agreement up together and then the money can flow.
Yeah.
That's probably the right way to do it, right?
Yeah. And that, I don't think that'll take a lot more time too. That
should be the way.
Yeah, that should be the way.
Have you been watching The Mandalorian when they say this is the way?
No.
Okay. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Okay. This is the way.
Yeah. I haven't been burned enough yet. That's the thing.
Juana says, once you make all this money, besides EMD aside, where do you put your money to grow passively? Never crypto, never CDs, never stocks, commercial property. No, I would say real estate, because real estate's the only thing you can control, right? I own the asset. I now can raise rents over time, but I have a fixed debt that keeps me making that money. And then I see no point in investing in anything else. Personally, I see everybody's like, I bought these stocks. Great. If you want to like live your life based on how other men make decisions in their business, have fun with that. I'm a full real estate guy. That's it. Like until you can show me a long-term proof that anything's better than real estate, you show me long-term proof that anything's better than real estate, I will give you money and you prove me wrong. It's real estate or nothing. Yeah. Crypto, what a freaking joke.
Yeah.
Okay. So Gabriel Barrios, I love that you said you got here late. Gabriel, guys, have we done the training in Gator of where to find Gator opportunities? Have we done the training 3 times? So I'm not going to cover that today. Okay. I'm not going to cover where to find these opportunities, but I'm going to go over this again with Kevin. Where does Kevin find these opportunities? Kevin, do you find Gator opportunities at meetups?
I do.
Do you find Gator opportunities in public Facebook groups?
Oh, 1000%.
Do you find Gator opportunities in the Sub 2 Facebook group?
Yes.
Like the private one?
Yes.
Do you find them in the free Creative Finance Facebook group?
Yes.
Are you being an idiot and posting in the Facebook group and saying, hey, I'm a Gator lender? Or are you just reaching out to people you look at their post and then you reach out to them and go, hey, I can help you out?
Yeah, I specifically go out to that person. I send them a message.
So you're not spamming.
I'm not spamming. And I think even if you post it, you won't get a lot of traction.
I agree. I think people that are posting and they're trying to be spammy, that's not how it works. You need to pick up the phone or get somebody on a text message and actually communicate with people, right?
Right. And I don't think you really need that many investors to work with. I think you may just need 10 solid people that's consistently buying deals.
Let's say you have 10 investors,
right?
Okay. And you're working with them consistently. How much money do you think you could make on a monthly basis?
15, 20 grand minimum.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Just with 10.
Yes.
Is there any shortage of people doing deals out there?
No.
Like, do you feel like, oh my gosh, there's not enough deals and there's not enough going around? Or do you feel like you're overwhelmed with opportunity?
I'll be overwhelmed if I really push this hard. It's because this has been just more of a side gig for me for the last 2 months, and I just kind of accidentally made money. But if I really pushed it, and I'm kind of pushing it now, I'm just starting pushing it last week. Like I would be very confident in making at least 10 grand a month.
At least,
yeah. I mean, that's just only one deal a week, really.
Yeah. Does this help you guys understand you don't need money? Here's a couple. What is Kevin doing wrong? Let's talk about that.
Paperwork.
And you're trusting people verbally.
Right.
Never do a Gator deal, never do a sub 2 deal, never do a real estate deal. Money should never pass other people's hands. And bro, you should never introduce two people together unless it's a documented transaction.
Yeah.
Because Eric, I can tell you something. If expectations are that, oh, I don't care if you guys go make money, you're going to go make money. And if you do, cut me in. That expectation is going to set you up for them cutting you out.
Right.
That's human nature. That doesn't mean if they're good people or bad people. That is 100% of people.
Right.
Okay. But if you go, hey guys, I'm going to introduce you to somebody. Hey guy, other person, I'm going to introduce you to somebody. When I introduce you, I want you to know that this relationship came from my hard work and my perseverance. So I want to make sure that I'm getting tied into all of these relationships.
Right. Because what's going to happen is I make one relationship introduction, and I might be involved in the first one, but they might go and do their other deals, and I'm not involved in it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you cut yourself out of future business. Right. So you want to make sure it's documented, and you want to make sure that there's an agreement that says, hey, any future business that happens came from me.
Yes.
Right. Now, you guys want to hear something really, really cool?
Look who's calling right at the beginning of a YouTube video. Mastermind student. Yo, what up?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Just started filming.
Oh, okay. I'll be quick. I know you're still buying sub 2s in San Angelo, yeah?
Yeah, dude. Did you see that weird? Did you see that tenant attacking one of our other students?
That was nuts.
I know. I was like, should I not buy in San Angelo ever again?
Well, this is a single family. This isn't a multifamily, but
okay.
I can't promise any crazies. So we just locked up a sub 2 in San Angelo with a person that's getting their first deal.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Look at you guys getting people their first deals.
I know. We're on a roll.
It's a single family home?
It's a single family. Yeah.
Do you know what the interest rate is?
The interest rate is 3.625.
3.625. That's awesome. What's funny is I'm doing a video right now on why creative finance will be dominating in 2023 and 2024 and 2025. 3.625?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Do you know what the PITI is on it?
The PITI is 2008.
Okay, 2008. That's everything included. That's property, taxes, insurance, all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're gonna send me an email?
Yeah, I just sent it.
Okay, cool. I got Molly sending me deals to notarize in freaking Missouri. Did you ever think that I would be doing a deal in Missouri?
In Missouri, what city?
It's in, St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, okay, got you.
Okay, so I'm looking at the deal. Oh, newer home, 2015. Mm-hmm. Do you know what's going on with the seller? Why is the seller selling?
They're just behind. They have some arrears, and they need to get out from under it.
Okay, so they have no equity.
No.
Okay, so is the seller getting some money to walk away?
No, cash to seller is 0.
Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. Seller's walking away with no money, handing over the 3.625 interest rate. You guys, the realtor's getting paid.
Realtor's definitely getting paid. Yep, they were facilitating.
He's a newbie?
He's a newbie.
Okay, got it. Newbie. So you've got, so here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing cash to seller 0, arrears is 22,000. Wow, they must be home behind let's see, when did they buy it? Doesn't say.
I don't know if they bought it.
They must have bought it, they have not made a payment on this thing in probably at least 10 months.
No, it looks like it.
Okay, so
the arrears are around 22K.
Okay, 22,000. You guys are gonna make 10 grand. Cool. Realtor is gonna make 6,800, and then EMD.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing is I need EMD in today, sir.
Okay, I'll do the deal.
Okay, amazing.
Okay, so you got Kelly Walker, the title officer.
Yes, at Stewart.
Okay, and if I'm sending in EMD today, and we still have to go and check on the arrears and see what the total amount is. How do we have an inspection period on this?
I believe so. I can pull up the contract, what we have. Yeah, we're closing on it before April 7th, so there should be some time there. And we're getting a reinstatement for the mortgage taken care of.
Okay.
And all the documents that Molly is going to need for everything. Just, we know what you guys want.
Okay, cool. So I'll buy the deal.
Okay, cool.
Your close of escrow is April 7th.
On or before, yeah.
On or before April 7th. You got to order a reinstatement, and I got to get EMD over to Kelly Walker at Stewart Title today.
Today, that would be amazing.
It's 11 a.m., so I should be able to make the wire cutoff.
I think so.
Okay, cool.
I think you're fast enough for that.
Dude, hey, by the way, Eric's still filming me. Are you helping any newbie in Texas get their first deal or what?
Yes, we're helping, oh my gosh.
So many people. It's like your main business model.
We have a few. We have a few that we're working with right now, yeah.
Did you see that Dawn got her first deal too?
Yes, Dawn freaking Walker. I'm so excited for her.
Dawn Walker, Texas Ranger.
She deserves it all. I'm so excited. And she's doing it with you guys, so that's amazing.
Yeah, I told her, I was like, I don't even care what the deal is. I will buy it just because it's your first deal.
Yeah, she's pumped. And I think it was like a lead that Myron may have sent to her, I think.
That's awesome.
She closed it. She got it locked up, so that's amazing.
Good. All right, so I'm going to call Kelly. We'll get the EMD sent over. Can you send over Molly an assignment contract?
Yep.
And
totally.
we'll get it cranking.
Okay.
Oh, hey, will you do me a favor? Will you send over a copy of your contract so I can see? I'm sure you guys used our contract.
Yep.
But can you take a screenshot? I just want to make sure you guys use the contract that allows me to get my EMD back if I decide that the arrears come in too high or something like that.
Totally. I can send that over for you. It's your contract, but I will verify it with you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, here's the problem on that. I literally don't have any money. Check this out. I send a text message to Tony, my bookkeeper, and Molly. Oh, cool. Guess who's here? Here, come here. This is gonna turn into like a vlog. What the freak, dude? Why is this all gotta happen right now? Hey, what's up? What are you doing? Are you guys making messes out here? Hey, Chris, Kevin, you guys like watching my haughty wife in her underwear? Come on in here. Hey, give me a kiss. I can't, I gotta work. I'm in the middle of a video. Make me a kiss. Okay, come on in, boys. So guys, I've got Chris and Kevin here. They're watching me do a deal live, by the way. You guys just missed, Carolyn Briley just called me and sold me a sub-2 deal. The problem is I have no money. And I gotta wire $5,000 EMD today. So now watch me get. You'll do the 5,000?
Yeah. For real.
You'll Gator a loan for me?
Yeah. What's the turnaround?
I don't know if I want your money.
What? I'll do it for you.
You will?
Well, Carolyn and I were talking about that deal.
Okay, watch me do. I got a girl named Danny. I just met her last week. She's done like 12 Gator loans. And she's like, please let me loan on your next deal. I'm gonna see if her terms are better than your terms, okay?
Hello?
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
What are you doing?
I'm at the park with my kids and my neighbors.
Amazing. Hey, you know how we just met like a week ago and I said that I wanted you to loan on some deals?
Yes, are you ready?
I got a deal right now in Texas and I have to wire the money today.
Ooh, okay. So tell me a little bit more about the deal.
It's a sub-2 deal. I'm gonna keep the deal myself. So it means that I'm not gonna wholesale it. I'm not gonna refinance it. I'm literally just gonna buy the deal myself, but they need $5,000 EMD today. And then I will refinance you out with a private money lender within probably 10 days.
Amazing. I love that turnaround. Okay. You need EMD today. Now remind me of the amount.
5,000.
5,000. Okay. Our capital is pretty tied up right now. We have some loans going in and out as we speak, but I do have a lot of connections to people who have funding. So let me reach out to my people and get back to you before, within the next 2 hours. Is that okay?
Yes. Well,
Okay,
you have 30 minutes to tell me yes or no.
30 minutes?
'Cause
well,
I gotta-
I'm telling you yes.
Okay,
I'm
so
telling you yes.
because I have to send I have to send a wire today by 1 o'clock to get it there today, in order to make this deal happen.
Okay, well, we're going to make it happen. You don't need to worry about that.
If I
just find out which person's going to help us make it happen.
If you loan me $5,000 for 10 days, what do you want in return?
Well, I'd love 10,000 in return, but since You're my friend, and you're doing such a quick turnaround. I think $3,000 is a fair amount. What
Done.
do you think? $3,000 as a return.
$3,000.
So perfect. Let's do it. Now, just to be clear, because I'm going to be sharing this with all of the people I'm reaching out to.
You're going to reach out to the Gator tribe or what?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I'm going to wrestle some gators.
Okay.
I'm going to wrestle one gator. $5,000 is easy to wrestle one gator with, so that'll be perfect.
Okay.
Just to be clear, you're going to be paying us back with your private money lender at close, and this fee for the lending will just be tied right into your closing costs.
Yeah, so I'll end up, here's just so you know, the total cost for me to buy the deal is going to be $41,000. Okay. And that's including closing costs and EMD. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go borrow $44,000 from my private money lender so I can get you your EMD back and your $3,000 return.
Okay, perfect. That works. Now we'll need to get some agreements set up. I can send those over to you within the next little bit, but let me reach out to my people and we'll be back in touch.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. We'll talk soon.
Bye. In 2 minutes and 55 seconds, I got $5,000. Would you have given me $5,000 for less than $3,000? Hey guys, I'm here with Danny Gish, and Danny Gish is in this video with me right now. She's the one that I'm calling to make a deal happen. She actually came through with the $5,000 on the deal in San Angelo. Did you end up getting paid?
Yes.
Okay, how much you get paid?
$3,000 return.
And I think we worked out the return is that you gatored the deal in San Angelo $5,000. You got $3,000 back. It took about a month.
Mm-hmm.
So you got, I think, an annualized return of 720%.
Yes, and let's remember I wrestled that one. So I didn't even have to bring $5,000 of my own money.
There you go. So guys, while you're watching this video, you should DM Danny, get to know her. She has money, or she has access to people that have money. So if you guys are trying to get somebody to fund your Gator or your EMD, or even do transactional lending for you, use dannysmoney.com. I hope is a domain that she has by this
Hopefully we
point.
can register that.
Put whatever domain name she has, put it right here, Mr. Editor, so everybody can watch and see it. Go to this domain. Guys, thank you so much. Keep watching the video.
I'll do 2,500.
I already committed to her.
Why?
Why don't you loan me the $44,000?
Why? Because I'm buying houses traditionally right now. I'm using my money.
Why?
Tell them what you plan.
You mean you're buying sub-2 and seller finance deals with your own cash?
No, I'm going on market.
He's using together.
Yeah.
I don't even want to hear this. If you're telling me you're buying houses traditionally, I don't even want to have the conversation.
Can I still lend you money?
Here's the thing. Kevin has obviously not bought the book Wealth Without Cash.
You know what I'm doing. Casey, you know what I'm doing.
I don't know what you're doing. What are you doing?
I told you last time.
No, you did. What are you doing?
I have a house. Well, we're buying a house traditionally right now. But we're
Like you're going on market and applying for a loan?
Yeah.
Why?
And we're turning that into midterm rental. It's going to bring $6,500 a month. Gross.
Bro, he's selling me 50 sub-2 deals this year. We've done now sub-2 deals together, and he wants to go buy traditional. Why are you doing traditional?
No, you don't. The return is good though.
No,
So
he's finding sponsors, having them qualified, then taking
Oh,
it.
you're doing Gator lending.
No, so like they're going to sponsor
Yeah, it's
they're
called
going to get
Gator.
the mortgage, and I'm going to buy the house subject to.
Yeah, that's called Gator. So a Gator comes in and sponsors your loan for you. That's one of the Gator strategies.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, love it.
So yeah, I'm not qualifying.
Yeah, you thought you was
Wealth without cash. Yeah, bro, then why are you saying you're not buying traditionally? You're having somebody else buy the property, sponsor the loan. Yeah. That's a Gator strategy. And then you're going to buy the property subject to. Yeah. That's called creative finance, dummy. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Well, I wish I'll lend the money right now.
No, I already committed to Danny.
Okay, well, if she doesn't get back.
Well, here's the problem, okay? Check this out. So this morning, if you look at my bank account, let's go to my bank account. This is why I have no money. Eric, I'm logging in my real bank account. So right now, this morning, I wired $110,000, and I wired $500,000 yesterday to pay off all my private money lenders, and I've got 40 grand left in my bank account, but that I just paid off my Amex is like $38,000, so I have $2,000 to my name for maybe the next week or so. So I have no money, and then Carolyn calls me and is like, I need $5,000 today.
You know she called me about that deal too yesterday.
About which deal? She was gonna try and sell it to you?
No, she was asking me questions about it.
Oh, got it. Well, that's why you're part of a community, dude. You get to help people. Let me wrap up this video because I think what's going to happen is that you guys are watching a deal happen live. Okay, so let me kind of walk you through this real quick. Okay, let's see. What is my exit strategy on this? Guest house, no. Low down, no. Zero deposit, zero down, no. Okay, so I don't have a magnet for that yet. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do a lease purchase. I'm not going to do a rent to own. I'm not going to do a lease option, which a lease option and a lease purchase are actually very different. Okay, put these down. I'll tell you what I'm going to do on this deal. So here's what's happening. Okay, here's the seller. And the seller is 10 months behind on their mortgage. So their house is currently in foreclosure. Okay, so that means that the bank is starting to come in and the bank is saying, give us the house back, and they're demanding the house back. So the seller says, that's not good, I'm gonna go hire an agent. And the agent in this situation has had this house listed on the market for the last 6 months. And it hasn't sold. And the reason why the agent hasn't sold the property is because the agent doesn't know creative finance. So what happens is, Carolyn, who you guys just saw, and Myron, her husband, went to the agent and said, hey, if we could get your commission paid, it looks like the agent's getting paid. If we get the agent paid or your commission's paid, would you have your seller let us take over the payment? And the payment on this deal is $3.625 and it's $2,008 per month. Cool. So Carolyn and Myron go get a contract, which she's going to send over to me right now. I'll pull it up and see if she sent it. She has a contract, and now she's going to wholesale this sub 2 contract to me for a $10,000 assignment fee. So Carolyn is going to make $10,000 on assignment. The agent is going to make $6,800, and the seller is going to walk away with no money because they're just willing to let the house go. By the way, this is not a crappy house. Look at this house. Let me ask you a question. Chris, where do you live right now?
Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, so you're in Brooklyn, New York. Would you live in this dope house right here?
100%.
This is a pretty sick house.
Yeah. You should move into it.
That's nice.
I definitely would live in that.
Isn't it crazy that people just let us take over houses like this and go, I'm walking out. It's like, even after doing this for 10 years, I'm still blown away all the time. Like, really? You know, today, you guys are coming on an appointment with me today. Yeah. 1 o'clock, the guy's just handing me the keys. He's like, I don't want anything, just take my house.
Where?
In Phoenix. Bro, this same thing right here. The address is right here. How, you done deal after deal and you're still questioning whether this is real?
No.
Kevin.
Well, you gotta give me a chance to speak. Like, I'm surprised.
I have this really amazing book. It's called Wealth Without Cash. It talks about this stuff.
Can I read it?
Bro, you've already been trained on all this stuff. You're awesome, Kevin. So, why do I want the property? Now, if the seller doesn't want the property, the agent wasn't able to sell it, that means homeowners didn't want to buy it and real estate investors didn't want to buy it because most real estate investors look at this and go, well, I don't want to buy this cash because right now interest rates are at 7-8% for a real estate investor. So what am I going to do with the property? I will have a new contract, okay? This is PACE. I will have a new contract. So this is the A to B contract, okay, that Carolyn and Myron did. And then we will have a B to C contract, which here's A, here's B, and here's C. I'm C. So we'll have a new contract stating that I'm going to take over the rights to their contract plus $10,000 for their fee. All right, now what will I do once I own this property? I will probably, because it's San Angelo, Texas, I will either do a midterm rental and have Tanisha Epps manage it. Love Tanisha Epps. She's one of my favorite people in the world. Is that who you're having manage your midterm stuff? You can do it yourself?
No, I have other substitutes.
Okay, cool. You have other substitutes. Okay. Isn't it crazy? Like everything in sub 2 you ever want is this there?
Yeah, literally.
Deals, private money, managers, partners, JV partners right here, even weight trainers right here. What's your guys' IG so people can reach out to you? You're in Brooklyn. How can people get a hold of you?
Chris JB REI at Instagram.
We'll make sure we put in the comments down, or the description down below so you guys can find these boys. Kevin Cho 12.
Yes, Kevin Cho.
He has the heart of a 12-year-old, but the bank account of a 40-year-old.
Facts.
Okay. So San Angelo, I'll turn into a midterm, probably is option A, and then option B is, I would say, sober living, because at least 5% of the population in San Angelo is on fentanyl, I'm sure. It's a little bit of a joke, but it's also very true. Fentanyl is on a rise, and the government is paying for sober living houses. So it's basically a government-sponsored loan. So here's where I'm getting the money. And this is where some of the problems come from, right? If you're paying attention to this. So right here in this contract, she has a requirement to put in $5,000 EMD today. You guys heard it on the phone. The problem is, I just showed you guys my actual bank account. I don't have any freaking money. I have 40 grand, but that 38 grand is coming out today to pay for the Amex. So I will have $2,000, and I need to wire money today. So how do I get that EMD?
Me.
No, not you.
Someone else.
I committed, dude. I'm a man of my word. I committed to Danny I'd give her the next Gator loan. So she's going to loan me $5,000, and she'll make sure that that's taken care of. So now, if you come over here, Eric, come look at this real fast. So my total cost to get into the deal is it's called a entry fee. Okay, so if you look here, you'll see the address. You'll see, what this is. You can tell this is a student of mine because they actually know what the hell they're doing. This is why I don't like doing deals with non-students. Here's the entry fee. So cash to the seller. Can you see this? Okay. Mm-hmm. Arrears are $22,000. Assignment fee to Carolyn and Myron, 10 grand. Realtor is $6,800. EMD is 5 grand. Closing costs $3,000. So normally I would have to go borrow $41,000 from a private money lender. Okay. If you guys needed a private money lender, where would you go right now?
Sub 2.
Isn't that so funny? You just go to sub 2 community, go, I need 41 grand.
It's crazy.
So I'll do the same thing. I'll go to the sub 2 community, just make a post in the Facebook group and go, hey, I need $41,000. I'm willing to pay 10% interest, but I don't need $41,000. How much money do I need if I'm paying Danny $3,000 return?
$44,000.
I need $44,000. So what I'll do, you're so good at math, bro. Are you sure you're only 22? Okay, so I will, in order to close my portion of the transaction, I will need $44,000 from a private money lender. Okay, private money lenders are longer term lenders. Gators come in, and let's figure out the return on this Gator loan, by the way. If she gives me $5,000 and I give her $3,000 return in 10 days, okay? Let's figure out what is the annualized return on that. Here's how we figure that out, okay? It's a 10-day loan. She's making $3,000. So let's take 3,000, divide it by 5,000.
60%.
Okay, 60%. Now multiply that 60%, because it's a 10-day loan. How many days are in a year? 365. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna multiply 60% times 36.5.
2,100.
21,000.
21,000.
So she's getting, check this out, as a Gator, she will get, if she did this every 10 days with that money, she just loaned that money out every 10 days, she would end up getting a what's the actual percentage?
21.9.
21,900% return on a yearly basis. That's crazy. So that's what's cool about being a Gator, is that I can go in and I can go 5 grand to you just to cover the earnest money deposit. And I train people like Danny. She's done, this was what's cool. She told me the other day at our meetup, we had that Phoenix meetup like a week ago at the Four Peaks Brewery. Yeah. So I see her there, I meet her and her husband. Her husband makes good money, he's a 6-figure earner at his job. And she's like, in 3 months of being a Gator, my husband can already quit his job. Wow. Because look at this. She said she got $50,000 of lines of credit from the Gator training. She went, because we teach people how to go get lines of credit. So she goes and gets $50,000 line of credit. She then starts going out and doing these loans. She's making over 6 figures just within a couple of months of doing this. And I was like, I want to do a deal with you. Like, now you're making me feel FOMO that you haven't loaned money to me. So she'll get a $3,000 return, 21,900%. Most people are happy. Like, here's what's crazy. Private money lender, they're happy with 10 to 12% return on a yearly basis. Gator in that situation is getting 21,000%. Is it 21,000 or 21?
2,100. No.
21.9.
No. You got to take, here's what you do. You got to take 60 times 36.5. Oh, it's, okay. My bad. Okay, I'm full of crap, guys. I'm sorry. It's 2,000. Okay, that's really bad return now. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that this return is now only 2,190%. I mean, that you're turning over your money 200 times. So you would, for 5,000% or $5,000, check this out. $5,000 times 2,109%. I mean, you're going to turn that 5,000 into $105,000 at the end of the year. That's crazy. Yeah. But like, if you really think about that, think about like, it compounds, right? Because let's say she does this twice in a month. Now she doesn't just have 5,000, she now has 6,000. So now she's got 11 grand, she can do 2. And the next month she can do 4. The next month she can do 8. The next month she can do 16 loans at a time. Think about what that actually compounds into. That's freaking crazy. All right, so Gator is going to make really good money here. Private money lender is going to make good money here. And I'll be into the, and then Carolyn and Myron are making 10 grand on assigning the sub 2 deal. The agent, okay, the agent is making $6,800 on the deal, and the seller is willing to walk away. And look at all these people making money. So when people are like, what should I focus on in 2023? I'm like, look at all these people making money on one sub 2 transaction. Isn't that crazy? And then how much will I make? No, we haven't even talked about how much I'll make.
Infinite amount.
Well, it's infinite return for me because I'll be into the deal $0 out of pocket, right? So we got the San Angelo deal. If my payment on this deal is $2,008 and I go borrow $44,000, my payment to my private money lender is going to be about $400. So my total cost of this, let's just round up and say I'm $2,500 into that every single month. Okay. The rent rate for this property, so let's take this, let's go to Rentometer. Okay, so let's check this out. Enter an address. Okay, there we go. Check this out. So the average is $2,024 a month in rental. If you're in the 75th percentile, like the house is really nice, you're at $2,200 a month. Okay. Now here's the challenge. The challenge with this is that there's a couple of issues. If I was going to do a regular rental, am I going to be able to make money on a regular rental if my regular rental is $2,200 a month? No, I'm going to lose $300 a month. That's a problem, right? So a regular rental is not even in the like realm of possibility. Also, if I do midterm rental, I'm going to probably have to go out and raise another $15,000 for like furniture and getting it ready. A midterm rental might be a good fit because the house is like so nice. A midterm rental is probably going to produce $5,000 per month, I would guess. And I would have to maybe, if you guys want, I'll bring Tanisha Epps in, and Tanisha Epps is my midterm rental manager. What I'll do is I'll bring Tanisha into like a part 2 of this, and we can talk about what could this property generate in monthly cash flow. But I'm guessing the income on that is $5,000. Okay, so I take $5,000 on average, I remove my cost of $2,500. Now I'm left with, roughly $2,500. Let's take out management fees, let's take out broken windows, let's take out vacancy, carpet, all that kind of stuff. Let's take $1,000 out a month. This property will make me $1,500 a month after all my expenses, and I'm no money into the deal.
Infinite return.
And you haven't read my book yet.
Well, read the book, guys.
You know what's funny is like none of the sub 2 students are going to read the book.
Yeah, I would read it. I would read it.
You've already heard all the stories. You've already been trained on. You're closing deals because of all this stuff. Now, if you guys want to get trained on Gator, every Saturday we have a training. So go to that link in the description. If you guys are wanting to get trained in sub 2, link in the description. One thing I don't give away is I don't give away contracts. And so what I would never suggest is I would never suggest trying to do any Gator stuff without the proper contracts. You will lose money if you are not protected and trained properly. And same thing here. If these contracts, the most important part of this is the paperwork.
The paperwork is literally the most important part. And then Eric's going to remind me to tell you guys, go to biggerpockets.com /wealth without cash. Get the book. Comes with a video companion guide and a bunch of other really cool things. And we'll see you in part 2, where we talk about the Gator loan, how we wired money, got the deal opened, what does that look like, and how do we go through the process to make sure that if I'm a Gator, I vet the deal and I talk to the title company properly. Thank you guys. We're gonna be going through how the Gator loan works, because I'm borrowing $5,000 for the EMD, or the earnest money, okay? Earnest money is essentially, let me tell you what earnest money is before I jump into this, because I'm gonna call a title company right now and work this with you guys. Sorry guys, I'm anti-edits, I'm anti all that kind of crap, anti-prepared, just let you guys see in the real life. I cut my fingernails really short so I can't even pick things off the whiteboard. So let's say that I go to a real estate agent and I decide I want to buy a house for $200,000. Okay, the average purchase contract in the United States, the agent is going to require 1 to 3% of this purchase contract to be put into title and escrow as a deposit. Okay, so let's say a $200,000 house, the agent is going to require, and if you're an agent, tell me I'm wrong, right? If you're an agent and a real estate investor comes to you and says, I want to buy that deal, and they don't have earnest money, are you going to let your seller get under contract with that wholesaler or that real estate investor? The answer is absolutely not. Put that in the comments so other people that don't understand that about earnest money can see your guys' comments and know that as an agent, you would never let an investor get under contract without putting earnest money in. So earnest money, let's say in this situation, the agent says, no problem, $200,000 will work for me and my client. Here's their client. Let's get under a contract, but that contract is going to state $200,000 purchase price with 1% going in as EMD. EMD is like the engagement ring to a real estate transaction. You're not married yet, but we want to show people that we're engaged. And the agent's going to require you to come up with $2,000 today. And then let's say your contract is a 30-day contract. You are then going to have to bring the remaining $198,000 to the table. Okay, so what happens with wholesalers a lot of times, or real estate investors, is they have 5, 6, 10, sometimes even more contracts out at a time with EMD on every single deal, and they run out of cash. So what happens is, on this deal that I bought in part 1, there's a $5,000 EMD requirement, and I don't have the money. Okay, I'm actually borrowing the money from a girl named Danny Gish here in Gilbert. She's a Gator lender. And the reason I don't have money is because if you guys look here, nobody sees my password, it's good. You guys can see that in my account I have 40 grand, but if I click on here, you'll see that I paid, let's see, I paid $110,000 for a private money lender this morning. My studio, or designing studio, 14 grand. I then wired $500,000 to pay off a private money lender, okay? And then this morning I paid that $40,000 that I have, I paid $38,000 of that to my American Express bill for the month. So I don't have money for a couple of days. And I have to wire $5,000 on this deal today to make it work. And in part 1, I called Danny Gish. She said she'd lend me $5 grand to get the deal opened. She'll wire the money today, and I will give her a $3,000 return, which results in we had to go through the math a couple of times because we're dumb, but it results in 2,190%. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the title company, and I'm going to make sure you guys see the contract language that in order for me to make sure that this is a good deal, I asked Carolyn, if you guys look here, Carolyn, here, I'll bring it over to you, Eric. Here, Carolyn gave me the purchase contract right here. So just a couple minutes ago, what time is it? She sent this at 11 a.m. It's 11:28 a.m. So this is happening live right now, okay? So she says, here's the contract. And this is my sub-2 contract that my students use. The most important part of this contract I'm gonna find right now is I wanna make sure that if I'm gonna go borrow money from a Gator, here we go, boom. So check this out. This whole part is the most important part if I'm borrowing money from a Gator. Instruction to release the deposit upon cancellation during the inspection period.
The seller hereby irrevocably instructs escrow agent to return the deposit to the buyer or any person or entity designated by the buyer to receive the deposit. So check this out. I'm gonna call the escrow officer on this deal, and I'm gonna tell her, hey, we're wiring money today. Let's call her right now. I'm gonna say, hey, I'm wiring $5,000 today to open up escrow. I just need to make sure you've read the paperwork and you understand the relationships that are coming into the deal. This is Stewart Title in Texas.
Thank you for calling Stewart Title. This is Justin.
Hey Justin, is Kelly Walker available?
I believe she is. Let me transfer you back to her.
Thank you.
Kelly Walker. Record your message at the tone. Dang it. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Hey Kelly, my name is Pace Morby. We are opening escrow on a deal where I'm the buyer on a deal. Let's see, the address is, and I'm actually borrowing the earnest money deposit from a lender. And I just wanted to make sure that you and I were on the same page with all that kind of stuff. Let me know when we can chat. Thank you so much. All right, so my goal is I want to make sure that Kelly at Stewart Title is aware that the earnest money is actually not coming from me. It's really important. Okay, did you guys know about real estate agents have something called commission instructions?
Yes.
Okay, an agent will never do a deal ever without submitting their commission instructions to a title company, ever. If you're an agent, would you ever do a deal without submitting your commission instructions to the title company? The answer is absolutely not. You would never do that. It's the same thing when you are lending money as a Gator. You would never loan $5,000 to my transaction or anybody's transaction without making sure that the title company is aware that you are lending $5,000 for the earnest money and you expect to get that money back plus a return. So what I'm planning on doing with Kelly is this. I'm planning on calling Kelly and saying, hey Kelly, I'm the one that's buying the deal. I'm gonna borrow money from a private money lender, but I can't move fast enough with a private money lender. I gotta go find somebody with $44,000. I gotta get into an agreement with them. But unfortunately, I need $5,000 today to open up escrow or else we are in violation of the contract, okay? I will tell Kelly that $5,000 is coming from Danny Gish and Danny's going to wire $5,000 today. She already committed to me. And that when I close escrow with my new private money lender, this private money lender's money pays the $10,000 to Carolyn and Myron. So the $44,000 will pay that, it will pay that, and then the $44,000 will also pay the agent's commission, plus closing costs, plus some other, and the seller, I shouldn't say the seller's getting zero, they're just getting zero in their pocket. The seller's actually getting $22,000 of our private money lender to catch up their arrears and get their property back in a good standing situation. So what's in it for the seller? The seller's behind on their payments. The seller lost their job. Guys, if you haven't known this for a while, the economy is in a tailspin, right? Things are getting really, really bad. This is also why Bigger Pockets and I decided to write this book and launch it right now because interest rates are gonna go up again. This book comes out on May 2nd of 2023. It's Wealth Without Cash. It talks all about these types of transactions, where to find them, how to get lists, how somebody like Kevin Cho is gonna make, what do you think he'll make this year?
$500,000.
How old are you?
22.
He's 22 years old. He's gonna make $500,000 because he understands these things, how to talk to sellers. Chris, how old are you?
34.
He's 34. You gonna make a couple $100,000 this year?
Yes.
Like, this is stupid, right? Yes. You think you'll make more money than Kevin?
Probably not.
Okay, but you'll make good money this year, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, and how can people reach out to you guys, by the way? We told them in video 1, but not in video 2.
My Instagram is KevinCho12.
My Instagram is ChrisJBREI _REI.
_REI. We'll put in the link in the description down below. If you guys want to know more about these types of things, get the book. It's like $24. Yes, I'm trying to sell you something. Yeah, hate me for it. Bigger Pockets takes the lion's share of this, but I just want to get the information out there. Why do you think I want to get the information of sub 2 out there, Kevin?
Well, number one, it helps so many homeowners out of foreclosure. That's the only way to get homeowners out of foreclosure in certain situations.
Right.
So.
And number 2, this is a big one. This is funny that you haven't said this as the number 1. What's the number 1? So I can do more deals with people like you guys. Yeah. You can agree that when I taught you how to do creative finance, you became really good at it. Yeah.
and now you and I are making money together, right? Okay, so guys, I wanna teach you creative finance so that you guys can go out and do the same exact thing. It seems like hieroglyphics on the board if you didn't watch part 1. So this is a reminder, go back and watch part 1 of this. I want you to become a Gator lender. I want to see more private money floating in the ecosphere. I want a lot more private money lenders jumping in and doing these deals. I want more people like Carolyn and Myron making $10,000 assignment fees. I want more people like Tanisha Epps managing midterm rentals and doing sober living. Guys, these houses, forget about the value of the house. Look at the interest rate, 3.625. Go out and gobble up as many of these as you possibly can, and you'll be able to dominate. So here's what we're doing if you guys are just watching this one for the first time. Part 1, we broke down the deal. Part 2, we're gonna extend this part of the video. So when, let's call the title company one more time. Do you guys like the no edit type of stuff that I do? Yeah. It's just like, let's just go. I don't have time to script stuff. I'm just trying to do deals,
Thank you for calling Stewart Title. This is Justin.
Hey Justin, it's Pace again. I miss Kelly. Is she available?
Yeah, I think I heard her talking back there as soon as I hit send, so I believe she's back at her desk. But if not, I wrote your number down, and I'll walk back there and make sure she gets a message to give you a call. What was your first name again?
My name's Pace. I'm about to jump on a flight, which is why I'm trying to connect with her now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, let me transfer you right back to her. I'll watch to see if she answers.
You see what happens when you do that? Urgency. Little tricks.
This is Kelly.
Hi Kelly, my name's Pace Morby. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm so good. Hey, we're opening up escrow with you guys on a sub 2 deal with Carolyn and Myron. I'm not sure if you saw the contract already.
Let's see. I've been in closings all morning long. What's the address on that one?
And I'll tell you the reason why I'm calling. I just want to be really quick with it, and I'm jumping on a plane here in a sec.
Sure.
So I'm the buyer, and the EMD is not coming from me. I actually just paid off like $1 million of private lenders this morning, and then got this deal across my table, and it needs $5,000 EMD. So I'm actually borrowing the $5,000 EMD, and I will refinance my EMD lender with a private money lender at close of escrow.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, but in the contract, the purchase contract, it states that the seller has already released their right to challenge my return of my EMD during my inspection period.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure you see that part of the contract, because here's what's going on. The seller's in foreclosure, $22,000 in arrears, and we're going to have you guys order a reinstatement, and if it comes back higher than what they told us, I'm going to cancel the contract.
Okay.
And what I don't want is the seller to have the ability to say, well, I want my EMD, because they've already released it in my purchase contract. I think it's like page 3 or 4, the purchase contract states that the seller is irrevocably releasing their right to challenge my earnest money return during my inspection period.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I will tell you, I know you gotta go, but Stewart's requirement, anytime we get earnest money deposit, in order for us to release anything, we have to have signed authorization, even if it is within the contract.
I get that. Is there something that your guys' title company can have us release while I'm in there, and I can have the seller sign that's like on your guys' letterhead?
Well, the only thing that we would have would be like the release of earnest money.
Yeah, can we have the seller release that ahead of time?
I can send you the form if y'all want to sign it ahead of time and just hold on to it, put a sticky note on there that we're just waiting.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. My challenges with these sellers that are in foreclosure, a lot of times they'll tell us things that are incorrect, and then the arrears come back way higher, and then they try and challenge and take our EMD.
Yeah.
And so the seller's like, I'll sign whatever. I don't want the EMD, but while they're in that state of mind, I want to make sure that they just sign whatever you guys want to see.
Understood. Yeah, completely understood. Okay.
Cool.
Pace, how do you want me to get signed? You want me to email that to you, or?
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll email you in a couple of minutes. I'll put my COO and my transaction coordinator on an email. And if you could just reply back, that'd be awesome.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I'll be on the lookout for it.
What is your email, by the way? You're like Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh yeah, I've been called that my whole life.
I love that. Cool, I'm just gonna copy you and Molly and Allison, my transaction coordinator. and just have you reply back with the release of EMD form that you guys want, and we will get that signed.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
All right, bye-bye. You see, there's a couple of things here that most people won't do. Number one, you guys already know this, but like somebody doesn't want to just, human beings are typically lazy, right? But if you give them one little bit of like social pressure, they don't want to let people down. So me saying, I'm about to jump on a flight, I won't be able to talk to her, immediately makes him walk back and get her on the phone. And then also I tell her, hey, I got to get on a flight. So it forces the conversation to go way faster than normal. You want to keep your conversations to 3 minutes or less, that's how you do it. You're always jumping on a flight. You're always going to do something. You're always about to walk into a meeting, right? I do this all the time. So then that's one thing. The second thing that I would want people to learn of what I just did there is that she says, no, I want to see a release from the seller at Stewart Title. It's our policy. And I go, great. What paperwork do you want to see? So instead of me assuming that I'm going to use my paperwork, I want to just accomplish whatever it is. The thing I want to accomplish is I want to make sure the seller in the state of Texas, because it's a dual release state, I want to make sure that the title company knows ahead of time that I have a document stating that if we cancel during the inspection period, they've already released their right to get my EMD. Does that make sense? Did you know that that's a thing in Texas?
Well, I'm working on one right now. I have a $3,000 investment stuck in one deal.
Why you didn't watch the trainings on this? You missed out on it. You were out working out or doing, what were you doing?
I don't know. I wasn't.
This is a very guys, pay attention to this. This is a very important thing for you to understand. You need to know if your state is a mutual release state. So Utah, Texas are big mutual release states, which means if you look at this deal, okay, even though the seller in my contract states that they release their right to fight for my EMD, because what's the point of a 10-day inspection period? If I have 10 days that I can cancel for any reason, then why does the state require the seller to sign off on my EMD being released back to me? It's weird how that works, right? So what I do is in my purchase contract, I state, this is the contract you guys have. By the way, if you got an escrow with our purchase contract, then you're covered, okay? It states it in the contract, okay? Again, I'll pull this up. Sorry for bouncing back and forth, Eric. But this is the thing you need to pay attention to, Kevin. Is in this contract, it says it right here. No. There it is. So section 7 of our purchase contract, it states, seller hereby irrevocably instructs an escrow agent. Who is the escrow agent on that phone call? Kelly. So it tells them the seller is instructing the escrow agent to return the deposit to the buyer, which is me, or to any person or entity designated by the buyer, which would be the Gator, to receive the deposit if buyer elects to cancel this contract during the inspection period. Seller hereby waives any rights under the state or other law to object to the release of the deposit. Now, what I teach people is that will work 90% of the time. 10% of the time, you'll get Kelly that's like, I'm sorry, it's policy. And so this is the thing I want people to learn on this video, is just because it's policy doesn't mean I go, well, oh crap, that didn't work. What did I do? I said, okay, well, what's your solution? And she goes, well, we could just send you our EMD release. I go, okay, so you're okay if I just get that signed beforehand? She's like, yeah, totally fine. You guys know this because you guys are great closers, but I'm using you as my audience so that people on YouTube can learn this, is that you don't give up when you hear something, you pivot and you change. So people are like, my title company said this, and my closing attorney said this. You ever heard that? You see whiners and complainers that are like, oh my God, my title company said I can't do this. It's because you haven't learned how to deal with human beings, dude. Like, you use human nature to your benefit. Kelly, the title company, is gonna make money from our transaction. Their title company is gonna make money. Why wouldn't I do things that are gonna benefit everybody just to get the deal closed? If you guys wanna be a Gator and she's gonna make $5,000 loan for 10 days. She'll make a $3,000 return on top of that. So I'll wire $8,000 back to her. I won't wire the money. What will happen is I'll go borrow $44,000 from a private money lender. $44,000 will pay off the Gator, pay Carolyn and Myron, pay the agent, pay the seller's
arrears and then also pay for Kelly to do all the paperwork. So literally I have no costs in the deal. If you guys want to learn how to be a Gator, we'll have a link in the description down below. We have a training every Saturday we do. Molly on my team, Allison on my team does a training. I do the training every once in a while. If you guys want to be in the Sub2 community, reach out to these boys. These boys are absolutely amazing. They'll do deals with you. They'll help you find private money. They'll link in. They'll even call sellers for you and close your deals. And don't forget, I'm trying to sell you a $24.99 hard copy book, biggerpockets.com/wealth without cash. And you won't type that in. So go in the description down below and we'll see you in part 3 of the Gator Flow in this series. Oh yeah, make it, does that look dope? Can you see it just a little bit?
Do I need to sit up?
No.
Be straight up.
This is actually what I don't like about these chairs, but you look way too relaxed.
Very comfortable. Very comfortable.
Okay, you ready?
Just feel like I need 6
okay,
pillows.
Perfect. It should go up actually. You should splice it all in.
You can do whatever you want.
But this is where relationships happen. Two good brains get together and go, okay, how can I work with you? Because in 20 years I want to be hanging out with Abraham doing cool stuff. Same thing with you. I want to be doing cool stuff. And you're just starting in this world. You're like, but you're a giver. And we want to hang out with givers. That's all I want to hang out with. And that's what I've been doing for Sub2 for the last 3-4 years. It's like, how can I figure out all the things and the issues that people have along the way? We think it's illegal in Texas. I'm like, okay, let me find the #1 attorney in Texas. So I go and fly out 5 years ago. I fly out to Scott Horn. I go, I need a relationship with you because at some point I'm going to build a community and I'm going to need you to carry weight in this community. He's like, okay, how many people do you have in the community yet? And I go, none, but I'm going to need you.
It's important.
It's like having the vision of that. So constantly find, and then even the transactional coordination stuff, like having a Molly in our community is so needed because then it inspires other women, primarily women are transaction coordinators, inspires other women to go, oh damn, I could be Abraham Gray's transaction coordinator, I could be Danny Gish's, I could go work for other people. And now we all of a sudden have thousands of transaction coordinators that are making full-time livings just doing transaction coordination. So with Gator, it's the same thing. It's like, how can I, along the way, find ways to make your guys' life as easy as possible? And the people that will win in this are the people like you that are like, I like people. I want to network with people. I just want to meet more people. And then you could have a t-shirt that says usedannysmoney.com.
Easy.
Actually, that's a good.
Put that on my toddlers.
Do you have a better domain name? Anybody?
I think you could make a better one.
I would say dannysdough.com, but people are like, how do I spell dough?
Yeah, they're gonna have for sure not to.
People don't know how to spell stuff. So, guys, we've got Danny Gish with us. Sorry for impromptu, kind of weird way of entering into this, but Danny Gish hit my radar probably 6 months ago. She's actually been a lender of mine on a deal recently, right?
Yes.
I will refinance you out with a private money lender within probably 10 days.
Amazing. I love that turnaround. Okay. You need EMD today. Now remind me of the amount.
$5,000.
$5,000. Okay.
Are we calling it lending or funding? Because I think I funded your deal.
You funded my deal. What was, how much did you put into the deal and how much did you get back?
So we've done 2 recently.
You've done 2?
Yep, I know. I got you.
This is the beautiful thing about having Molly.
Yep, I love Molly.
Okay, so what were the deals? Do you remember?
Both, I've put in $5,000 and the return is $3,000, which has been wonderful.
Okay, and how much
It's been
time?
really great. Do you want the truth?
Yeah, I want the truth.
Okay, it was proposed as 2 weeks. It was definitely more a month, but that's okay.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The first one, why was it?
I think they were clearing some issues on title, which is very understandable. And I was CC'd on every single email with the title company, so I knew what was going on.
What would you have done different as the Gator in that situation, walking into it again now?
I have an idea for this, actually. I think we should create some sort of timeline expectation on the paperwork that says, okay, if this deal is completed within the timeline you specify, this is the return. If not, the late fee is this. I
agree with that, 100%.
I would love that for Gators.
Even if it's not the wholesaler's fault, it's like, yeah, but you have my money.
Mhm.
I could have put that $5,000 somewhere else, so there's an opportunity cost to you.
Yeah.
I mean, you still, let's do the math on that. You put in $5,000 on earnest money on a Sub2 deal I bought.
Mm-hmm.
Eric remembers this because this is what happened. I get a call from Carolyn and Myron Briley.
Yep.
And they go, hey, I've got a deal. I go, great. Where is it? And they go, San Angelo, where I own like 60 units or something. And they go, but the problem is we need the EMD today. I go, okay. And I go to my bank account. I literally have like $3,000. And
Literally.
Kevin is sitting across from me. He's in the office upstairs and he goes, I'll lend you the money. I go, no, I like Danny Gish more than you. So I called you. You had the $5,000. I don't know if you got it wired that day or when you got it wired, but it all worked out. You wired $5,000. I think I found out that wasn't even your $5,000.
Yeah, I wrestled in Carlos.
Okay,
It's
Carlos.
amazing.
I don't even need to know Carlos.
I know. Isn't it cool? That's what's cool about Gator.
So you called Carlos, another Gator.
Mm-hmm.
He brought in the full 5.
Yep.
Okay. Then you put the 5,000 into the San Angelo deal. That is the one that took more than a month?
Approximately a month.
Okay, and you still only got your $3,000.
No, we split it. So Carlos got.
But you got $3,000
1,500.
total.
Yeah, $3,000 total.
Okay, so let's do the math on that. So you put in $5,000. Let's see, $3,000 divided by $5,000. So that's a 60% return
In a month.
in a month. You multiply that by 12. That's 720% return in a year.
Yeah.
An annualized return, that's 720%.
Which is amazing. That's why people do Gator. That's why it's so lucrative and exciting.
Damn. Okay, so but you split it with Carlos.
Mhm.
So you used none of your own money at the time. Why didn't you use your money? Did you have money out
At
on
that
other
point,
deals?
I did have a lot of different deals funding, and I've been so blessed to have a ton of deals coming in, and I've had a lot of Gators reaching out to me. And it's more important that I have other Gators who haven't necessarily done it. Carlos had done a deal a long time ago, actually, but we brought him back out of the woodwork. He still had his business line of credit he could fund everything from. And so he and I had just connected, and I asked him to fund that deal. But I get calls very often with Gators saying, can I work on a deal with you? Can I work on a deal with you? And at this point, it's more important to me that everybody gets a deal and everyone gets to try something. So Carlos and I had just recently talked, and that's why I had asked him to do that deal with me. But most often, if Gators bring a deal to me, I'm more than happy to JV it with them, and then they get to see the whole process start to finish. We both make money, and I didn't even have to touch my own funds.
And you made a new friend.
Yes.
Which is cool. Okay, so what I love about this too is a lot of people will use their own money for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I see people go, I'm gonna go buy a flip. Now, Abraham Gray does this all the time, but he's really rich. Like he's rich.
He can handle it.
He's like, I'm rich. He's way up here.
Okay.
Like the camera can't even see where my hand is. That's how rich Abraham Gray is. So, but I look at people and I go, man, why are you using your own money? And they go, well, I make more money. I go, what would you rather do in life? Would you rather make a little bit more money or make more friends along the way? Like Carlos is now like, do you think Carlos is ever going to forget Danny Gish's name?
No, we call almost weekly.
There you go.
He's the best.
So now you got a friend. You'll probably have multiple opportunities. You held his hand through the process, which is great. Now we did another deal as well.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about it, because I have no idea.
So whenever I do a deal, as soon as it closes, I thank the person I was able to do the deal with and ask them what else they have in the pipeline.
Did you do that to me or to Molly?
So I did thank you via text.
Okay.
And then we saw each other at a meetup, and I just dropped it. Hey, do you have anything else in the pipeline? And you said, talk to Molly. I think I do. So I just called Molly and said, hey, what else can I do for you? And she said, hey, we have another one going on in Texas. It's the same situation. I said, can I wrestle a gator or should we do it ourselves? And she's like, you know what, let's keep it simple. Let's just do this one, you and I, and pace. So that one I did use my own funds for, and it's closing. It actually, everything was signed today, and it will fund on Monday. It'll close on Monday.
How much was it?
So thank you. $5,000 for $3,000 return.
Dope. And did it made it on time?
Well, everything is signed, but it won't fund till Monday. But I'm getting my money back, and I know
was it
exactly
2
what's
weeks?
going on. It was a little longer.
Really? Tell me. Now I feel bad.
You don't need to feel bad, because everybody in real estate is an optimist. And I understand that as a Gator coming in. And
Well, you
I'm
also
pumped
have
to
an
help
experience
everyone.
in real estate as well.
Yes.
And so you
Oh, yeah.
you get it. Let's call Molly. Here's what we'll do.
No. I wish I had my phone. I could tell you on the emails.
No, I think your idea of it having.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi, Molly.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Danny and I are sitting here talking about this last deal that she gatored for us.
Yeah.
Can we do a Zoom or reach out to Sean St. Clair and have him draft an extension clause into the agreement for Gator? So if we go long or a wholesaler goes long on holding the EMD, that it gets extended, but it also has an additional fee?
Well, you can write that within your joint venture agreement. So I've written it in with a couple of others where you just in your additional terms.
But we didn't do it with Danny.
We just didn't do it with Danny.
We're going to do it next time, Molly.
Danny could have had a new romper. I mean, we could have.
Really, honestly, the way it goes is like with these ones that have reinstatements, it's all dependent upon the freaking title company. And so I never know, it's not our fault.
We should have it as a standard thing in the Gator docs that say, here's the length of time that is proposed. Here's a 5-day grace period. Anything beyond that needs to have an additional, let's say, $1,000 or something.
I think 30 days is like a standard close, so I don't think anything should take longer than 30 days if it's me.
Okay, got it. What was the deal that Danny just did for us just recently?
Avenue T, it's the one that I was just talking about.
The one with Allison?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Sounds good.
Yep.
Thank you. You're awesome.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
Okay, bye. So you have a lot of experience in real estate. You understand it. So you understand like that. I think that phrase of everybody that gets into real estate is such an optimist.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
It's not a bad thing. It's exciting, right? Everybody's excited about their deal. And when a deal comes to you, especially when you're doing something subject to, it's like, this is simple. This is off market. I can close it in 2 weeks. So when wholesalers come to me, or even you, that you're pumped about your deal and you're like, this is simple. I can do it in 2 weeks.
We're like panting dogs.
I'm so excited. I get another deal.
Exactly.
But honestly, like Molly said, a lot of it depends on the title company. A lot of it, especially when you're doing EMD for sub 2, depends on the actual current owner of the home and if they're cooperating, signing all the documents that the title company needs them to sign.
I have one of those right now.
There's so much more.
Yeah, I have a seller right now in West Phoenix that we're supposed to close Monday, and the seller's like, no, I think I'm changing my mind, or I think I'm not going to be able to sign for 2 more weeks, or they're just playing a game around,
Yeah.
And it's interesting. We just look at it like, oh, this is normal.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been doing it for so long.
Yes.
But people that are brand new to real estate are very optimistic.
Well, and even brand new Gators, right? If someone tells me I'm going to get my money back in 2 weeks, I'm like, whoa, I got to loan $1,000, $2,000 for $2,000 return or $4,000 return in 2 weeks. And then they get super excited and they start stacking deals in their pipeline. So in 2 weeks, they go, well, I only had $2,000 and I lent that out and it's not back yet. And I've got a wholesaler that's ready for me to loan that EMD. So that's why it's so important to have your contacts, because you can call someone and say, hey, I have a Gator deal. I thought I was going to be able to fund it. I can't, but I know you can.
I love that.
Bring them in.
So what do you think that people could do better as a Gator that they're not doing? I mean, along those lines, you already just named it. It's like you as a Gator should be jumping in. I did this the other night on the Zoom. I was like, who can connect with the most people? And that was really cool. I saw people are texting me and DMing me and saying, dude, I just made 100 friends. I'm like, but why do I got to tell you to do that? You know, is that not?
That's already happening in the Gator community.
I know it's happening with you.
It really is. Oh, it's happening with other people too.
Okay, great.
There are superstars in that Gator community, and that people really work out. They try to give, really work out. I don't know what I meant by that, but they work to connect with each other and to give. And I even had someone call me today. His name's Corey. He was so sweet. We talked this morning because he's on the East Coast at 6 a.m. before my kids woke up. But it worked out.
You East Coasters have no idea what we have to go through for you.
We wake up really early for you.
I got to wake up at
happily.
Yeah, Abraham's texting me at early, butt crack of dawn. Actually, it might be the other way around. I might be texting you early.
You text me before I wake up. I don't wake up until like 8:45, 9 o'clock. Eastern time, so.
And I'm texting at like 5.
Lucky.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're rich. You get to wake up whenever you want.
You get to wake up at 9.
So you've got people connecting.
Yeah, so this guy today, great example. I talked to Corey. We had connected on the Q&A when you said, hey, text people. And so Corey just, after the Q&A, was like, Danny, can we have a phone call? And so we tried to connect for a couple of days, and I just said, I have to do it early because my day's crazy. I have a lot going on. So we connected this morning, and he was talking about how he hadn't done any deals, but he had an idea of something he was doing that he thought would put deals in his pipeline. And so he was reaching out to, and this is more for transactional lending, but it's still applicable. He started reaching out to retirement account advisors, telling people, hey, the advisors, you know how you're earning these returns for your clients in their account? I have a potential to help you earn even greater returns for them through transactional lending in real estate.
I love it.
That was an amazing idea.
A really great idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he provided that value to me when he didn't have a contract that he could bring and we could go through together, but he knows after that phone call that when he has a contract, he can call me and I'll be there for him the whole way.
I love it.
But he tried to provide me value, even though he felt like he maybe didn't have any Gator things in his pipeline immediately. And so that's what it's all about. If you don't have a Gator deal going on, that's fine. Call me. Let's talk about how I found mine, which I used to message people all over the creative page. Now every time someone says they want EMD, there's only 400 responses within 4 minutes. So
and this is what I told people.
Things evolve, and that's okay.
Right. I told people at the very beginning of Gator, I said, here's what's going to happen. Yeah. Do not spend time in the creative finance page. Yeah. Right? Like definitely be in there and, but the people that will win are the people who actually connect. And I see people make comments and I'm like, you're going to lose, you're going to lose, you're going to lose, you're going to lose. It's the person that picks up the phone and says, hey, let's become friends. Right? That is always going to win.
100%.
And then there's this other thing, like Abraham's over here at the house in the studio. You guys have known each other through Zoom, but today you finally physically connect. Yeah. And it elevates the relationship to another level. So it's like, okay, definitely DM people. Definitely get on the phone. That's the next elevation. And the next elevation is maybe meet up, hang out, or maybe even put a meet up together and go collect everybody else in the local community and get everybody together. Elevates everybody to another level, right? Now, on the transactional lending side, okay, are you seeing transactional lending opportunities come your way, or are you mostly seeing EMD stuff?
No. I'm seeing more transactional lending and PML. There are EMD opportunities.
Right.
But I get a private money or transactional lending opportunity coming into my email almost every day, if not multiple times a day. And I will hear of an EMD. Keep in mind, I am not actively marketing myself as an earnest money funder right now to title companies. So I know I could get more opportunities.
Yes.
I'm just mom number one and real estate agent, real estate investor, and Gator.
And
so there's a lot going on.
A
yes.
Wife. That's a lot.
My most important.
And your husband is completely drenched upstairs right now.
He saved our kid from drowning.
Actually, that literally just happened, guys.
It did.
That was cool. Us adults were busy talking, and her child, for 1 second, it was 1 second
Literally
underwater.
1 second.
Her husband jumps in the pool, phone in the pocket, everything.
Yep. Saved our kid.
Dad mode.
Braden Gish, the best husband on the planet.
He's pretty dope.
He is.
Okay, so.
What I'm saying here is, from me, I'm not spending an hour a day trying to make Gator connections, but I am spending an hour a week trying to message wholesalers, going to a local wholesaler meetup and telling them what I'm doing. I feel like in Arizona, the wholesalers know what Gator is because we already have it. But people who are out of the state of Arizona are missing the opportunity to find a local wholesaler group and go there and just talk to them, add value. If they don't want your money, try to help them find deals so that one day they have so many deals, they want your money to loan on the EMD. There's so many different things you can do.
I wish there was a different name for title companies. Because think about like an attorney, a CPA, a doctor, the word lawyer. Those words scare people. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm not, when you say, call a title company, you're going to talk to an escrow officer and you're going to ask them, blah, 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 blah. And you immediately said two words that scared them out of their pants. Title company and escrow officer. People that are brand new to this business, they think that that's like some prestigious, like big building and there's security guards outside and there's guns on the inside and you're not allowed to talk to the escrow officer. Then you realize it's like a mom.
It's just another job.
It's just another job. And it's like a mom type of person that's just so loving and nurturing. And it's like, I want to help you. And you go, what was I so afraid of? So owning title companies in multiple states, what we saw in the very beginning with like wholesalers and the EMD and also transactional lending, a couple of things that I see going on. 82% was our number of how many wholesalers were not depositing EMD. I was like, okay, that's just one title company. Think about the thousands and thousands of title companies that are doing this. So one of the reasons why I brought Eileen Brown into Gator was I was like, I want other people to hear from Eileen how many times this is happening. So imagine on the EMD side, if people would just call the escrow officer and go, I want to cover people's EMD. How can I be that person? You would land business. But the second thing I'm excited about that's coming up in the future is I think wholesaling is going to become regulated. As an agent, what do you think?
We already know, living in Arizona, if you're going to wholesale a property, you are disclosing it on the contract. It's a matter of time before you're disclosing in every single state. And you'll have to disclose, I think, that you'll have to disclose the amount of your assignment fee.
I agree. I think what's going to happen is that it's going to be like Illinois. I think they're going to say, yeah, you can wholesale, but you need to be licensed. Because there's no regulation on wholesale whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so agents hate wholesalers. I think a good portion of agents hate wholesalers.
Not everyone.
I know. The unicorn agents that understand all elements of the business do not. You guys understand, hey, they're actually a tool in my tool belt that I can utilize. But I think that there is going to be so much regulation in the next 5 to 10 years in the wholesale world that the solution to that will be
double close with transactional lending.
Right. So let's say that I want to work with Danny Gish. I want to bring a deal to you. I want to borrow money from you. I want to bring money to you. Either way, bring a deal to you or bring money to you. How do people get a hold of you?
Danny G Sells AZ on Instagram.
Danny G Sells AZ.
Or you can call me.
Oh, you're gonna give your phone number out?
Well, it's on my Instagram. I'm a real estate agent.
Give your phone number out.
The whole world knows.
Let's see what happens.
385-222-4457.
Okay, text her. And by the way, here's the etiquette of texting. Abraham, you ever get people to text you and go, "Is this Abraham?" and nothing else? They ever do that to you? Is this Danny?
I had a few texts from our Q&A.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Danny. Hi.
Hi, blank, question mark.
Who are you?
People are so funny. You got to have etiquette. So guys, when you're texting people, I can tell you, how did Cody Barton and I become partners? Do you know that story?
I do not.
So I was on a podcast 5 years ago, Steve Trang. I put my phone number out. This was before really anybody besides anybody in Arizona knew who I was. And I put my phone number out. I got 200 text messages that day. The only person that introduced themselves, said that what they brought to the table and asked for a very specific thing and said what they would bring in were Cody. Hi, this is Cody Barton. I saw you on Steve Trang's podcast. I noticed that you're good at closing leads. I'm not good at closing leads, but I have a lot of leads. I will let you keep all the money from the deals you close. I just want to see how you do it.
Well, enters Cody Barton.
Enters Cody Barton. And we sit down at McDonald's. We then upgrade to Starbucks. We then upgrade to an actual office. Now we've outgrown the office we've upgraded to 5 times over. And it all came from a text message. So guys, if you're texting Danny, make sure you're texting her and you're saying, "Hey Danny, my name is Pace. I saw you on Pace's YouTube channel. I saw you on Pace's Instagram. I see you in the Gator Zooms. I want to either A, bring you a deal, or B, I want to give you some of my money so you can use it on a deal."
And be patient with me. It's like
Why?
I said, mom first. So if I
You're not
don't
sitting there
respond
just
to
waiting
your
for a
text
text?
message in 24 hours, it still doesn't mean I'm not going to respond. It means you'll get a response and I care, but I might have 71 unread messages on my phone at the moment.
Mom is priority number 1.
Always. Always.
Okay, so what else are you doing in your business besides Gator? Anything else? Are you listing properties? Are you wholesaling? Are you fixing and flipping? What are you trying to do?
I have to say, because of being a real estate agent and honestly because of being in the Gator community, I have been so blessed to see a lot of opportunities. So I am listing properties. I am helping buyers close on properties, which is so fun here in the state of Arizona. And then my husband and I have also connected with local real estate agents throughout the nation, and we've had some agents bringing us fix and flip properties.
That's cool.
Which has been, really special. So we've got a deal that we're about to close on next week.
Are you gonna flip it?
Yep.
Here?
No, it's in South Carolina.
Damn.
I know.
World
I'm
traveler.
So excited. I'm not going.
What city?
We'll make it happen. It's in a place called Orangeburg.
Orangeburg, South Carolina. Somebody brought the deal to you. You're gonna buy it, flip it, put it on the retail market.
Yep. So the agent is going to be my project manager, since the agent's out there on site already, and I'm paying them a higher commission at the end.
Look at this.
Because of Gator, I never would have called her if I wasn't connected. to Gator. So everything happens for a reason. And if people feel stuck in Gator, I want them to know that they can still build connections without loaning an EMD on their first day of being a Gator.
I think that's, I was talking to Cody Sanchez a couple days ago, and she says, when people join her business buying class, she says, don't do anything for 90 days, except for absorb the material and connect with people in the group.
Yeah, I love that.
I was like, that's actually really great advice, because what happens is I got a DM from somebody a couple of days ago, and they go, I've been inside of the group for 2 months and I haven't gotten a deal yet. And I'm like, do you know what the difference between title and escrow is? No. Do you know what this is? No. Do you know what this is? No. I'm like, okay, then just focus on just learning. And that's okay. You don't have to beat yourself up.
Yeah.
And beyond learning, it's like everything that you're having success with is you're just friendly with people, you're connecting, and then you're being helpful. You're just a badass.
So you're so sweet. Thank you.
Watch this. This is how you work yourself into a deal.
Hello.
What?
Happy New Year. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so happy to hear from you.
You getting a lot of business from us or what?
I am, and I'm trying to keep up.
That's good. That's our job. Our job is to send you deals. Your job is to give us money. I love it.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm here for.
Good, good.
So good to hear from you.
Thank you for everything you do for our community. I appreciate it.
And thank you. Thank you. You just don't know how much you've been such an inspiration to me to keep going. Really. I am so grateful for you, Paige. You and your beautiful family.
Thank you. I appreciate
you guys
that.
Dearly. I
Thank
really
you.
love you guys dearly.
We love doing business with you. You're awesome. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I've got 2 questions for you.
Sure.
Question number 1, I'd love to do a Zoom with you and the Gator community so that people can send you more loans to fulfill. Can I send you a couple of times via text and get you to come in to do a Zoom so we can get more Gator sending you more business?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Secondly, I've got a loan that's interesting. It's a 5-unit. Do you do 5-unit dwellings?
Yes.
Okay. I've got a loan. If I send this loan to you, how can I get compensated on sending a loan to you from one of my buyers? Can I be compensated on that?
Yes, because I'll do that. I'll take care of that. That'll be an agreement between me and you.
Okay, cool. So I want to send you, like thousands of loans this year. You and I can work out an agreement. I'm going to put you and that borrower together. Now, here's another question. If I send a borrower to you and they come back to you and they continue to do refinances and other loans and all that kind of stuff, is there a way to put them in the system that every time they do business with you, even if I'm not involved in future refinances or purchases, that I can get paid a fee for a referral?
Absolutely, and that's what I'm doing. I'm doing commission and referral fees, so that would help out tremendously, and I can put you in a database. So everyone that comes to you, we can put you down as affiliated.
Okay, love that. All right, cool. I'm gonna put you in touch with a buyer on a little 5-unit deal. He has a 3-unit, a 4-unit, and a 5-unit he's buying simultaneously. He says he has a lender for the 3-unit and the 4-unit, but he said he's willing to give us the 3-unit and the 4-unit business as well if we can help him out with the 5-unit.
Okay.
The lenders he's spoken to said that they don't do any 5-unit stuff, obviously because it kind of goes into like the multifamily type of space, and I know you'll go find the right loan program for him.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. He's gonna need private money, so I'll help him find private money. You just help him find the purchase money, and I'll go find the private money for him.
Okay, sounds good. Send him this way.
Amazing. I appreciate you so much. I'll put you and him in an email, okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so this is super interesting how this is structured. There's so much nuance in a 3-minute phone call. I could unpackage this for hours, okay? Now, what Eric has been focusing on, okay, Eric holding the camera, what Eric has been focusing on in his Gator business is what strategy, Eric?
EMD, Gator 1.
Okay, Gator 1. Gator 1.0, those transactions are very, very common. They happen every single day. 9,000 transactions every single month in just our market need EMD. So this is very common, okay? However, I don't like focusing on EMD loans. I like focusing on Gator 2 and Gator 3. So Gator 2 is when somebody's buying a building, they typically need to get a lender in first lien position. And so you see this buyer over here on this transaction is sitting over here going, okay, I can go find an easy layup lender. I can just go online and find a lender. However, when they find that first hiccup, that first hurdle, that first barricade of, well, I've got the third building, which is a 5-unit technically, I can't find a lender to do this. But it's a package deal, so they can't get the deal done. So I'm gonna come to the table and I'm gonna find the lender that will do all 3 of these for him, and I will tell the buyer, that's my company. Okay, this is what we call white labeling. So I'll introduce the buyer with my lender who I just talked to you with, and Tanya is her name. She's somebody who helps a lot of Gators do white label loans. So I'm gonna make $5,000 on referring these deals to her, and I don't have to be the one bringing the money to the table. I brought the relationship to the table. Now, what's better is every time now this buyer does a refinance or another purchase or anything else, I now am tagged in Tanya's database so that I get paid every single time this buyer goes out and gets more loans. And even if this buyer then refers another person to Tanya, I also get paid on those transactions. And so Gator 2.0 has the ability to do compound relationships, okay? So this is honestly, if I was a Gator, I would spend 90% of my time on Gator 2.0 and probably 1% of my time on EMD, and I would spend a lot more of my time on Gator 3.0, which is also PML. Okay, because PML now is also going to be needed because Tanya, she'll fund the 3-unit, I'll get paid. She'll fund the 4-unit, I'll get paid. She'll fund the 5-unit, I'll get paid. And then this borrower also needs $80,000 of private money for the renovation. Tanya, who's a lender only wanting to be in first lien position, is basically saying, I don't do private money, that's not my thing. That's why she's Gator 2.0. She's doing the purchase price money. I've got to now focus on Gator 3 and Gator 2. I am going to then go do what we call Gator wrestling, okay? Because let's pretend I don't have the money. I'm going to go into the Gator community and say, hey, who has $80,000 for this renovation? I want to bring us all together, form a partnership, and I want to get paid on bringing these lenders to the table. And I structure a deal where I can make $10,000 between these 2 referrals. I made $10,000 on somebody else's wholesale deal, on somebody else's renovation, on somebody else's loan, on somebody else's private money. I wedged myself in the middle of all of this to make $10,000. It's pretty epic. And what I see a lot of Gators do incorrectly is they just go focus on EMD and short-term stuff. Why? Eric, why do you think that's the case? You won't guess, but I want to know why you think that's the case.
Seems the easiest.
It seems the easiest, but that's not the answer that I'm looking for. The answer I'm looking for is because when they watch the webinar on Saturday, because the webinar has to be so short, I only had time to talk about Gator 1. And so in everybody's mind in the Gator world, Gator 1 is Gator. Guys, if you have a full-fledged Gator business and you're blowing up, this is how it should be allocated. Okay, Gator 1.0 is definitely kind of low-hanging fruit. But Gator goes all the way down to Gator 6 and Gator 7 even, okay? There's other strategies we haven't even taught on. So I'm not even gonna talk about Gator 5, 6, and 7. We have not taught on those yet. If I'm a full-fledged Gator business, I'd probably say, I know I said earlier 90%, but let me tell you what the real truth is. I would say that I would spend 10% of my time on Gator 1. I'd probably spend 50% of my time on Gator 2. I'd spend 20% of my time on Gator 3 and 20% of my time on Gator 4. That's the allocation. Gator 2 is way more lucrative because it's compound relationships that go on and on and on. This buyer who's buying a 3-unit, a 4-unit, and a 5-unit, every single year that buyer is gonna buy more deals. Guess what? I just built in a pipeline of that buyer going and getting loans from Tanya, and I get paid on every single one of them. I've got now residual income. I just built an annuity for myself, okay? Like, think about this. This is bonkers. If I go out and I go get a sub 2 deal and I put it in my portfolio, I turn it into a regular rental, my average first year income on that first year rental is gonna be like $5,000 net to me. I'll make $5,000. It's a year's worth of work, owning a property. Yeah, there's all sorts of benefits on it as well. I get that. But the reality is I did one loan. I'm gonna do one loan with this buyer that's not even my money, right? And I'm going to bring that money to the table. I'll get paid 10 grand, which is twice as much money as a rental will pay me in a year, twice as much money. And more importantly, what if that buyer just does that once a year? They go out and buy another, 10 units every single year, that's it. They do fix and flip loans, they do these other things. Every time that buyer goes and does a loan, I get paid every single time. I get paid every single time in perpetuity. I will get paid in perpetuity. So for me as a business owner, I wanna focus on Gator 2.0, Alpha Gator. I wanna have an alpha platform way faster than I wanna do anything else, okay? Why don't I talk about this as much is because when people are just getting started, the EMD thing makes sense to them. But you should be spending less of your time on EMD loans. You should be spending way more time on Gator 2.0, Gator 3.0, and Gator 4.0. So what we'll do is we'll do a follow-up video. If you are a Gator, I'm actually gonna bring Tanya into the Gator community. We'll do a whole Zoom where you guys can go do business with her. She's one of these lenders that finds out really, really gangster loan programs to solve problems where other lenders just can't. She's amazing. And she's obviously doing a lot of business with us. So if you're in Gator, go and check out that Zoom. If you're not in Gator, what we'll do is we'll do a follow-up to this YouTube video where I'll actually show you how the heck we structured this whole thing after it's all said and done. First and foremost, you don't know until you get smacked in the face and you lose a bunch of money. So I'm gonna go through the most important rules when you guys are lending money. I lend a lot of money. And when you don't follow these rules, you'll text me and you'll say, hey, I'm in a really bad situation. Can you get on the phone with me? And my answer will be, fudge no. I will not get on the phone with you because I made a video about it and you broke the rules. Do not trust anyone. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's your grandma. I don't care if they spend time with me, but Pace, I saw you traveling around with this person. I don't care if it's God himself. I don't care if it's your grandma. Your grandma's gonna screw you. My best friend's gonna screw you. Anybody that you know, any human being, if they have a breath, if they can breathe, they're gonna screw you. Okay? I don't care who they are, but they're a leader. But Pace, they've been in the community for a long time. I don't care, and neither should you. Should immediately take that off the plate. So again, do not trust anyone, no buts.
No buts.
But Pace, they hang out with you. But Pace, it's Eric, I don't care. But Pace, it's your mom. Dude, my mom's gonna screw you so hard. Okay? I do not care who it is. Do not lend money you cannot lose. That is a big deal. Plan on losing it. I wired, by the way, this is what happened with this $1 million deal. The guy was pushing and pressuring me, and I went to Jade Jarvis, who was handling my money, and I said, we're going to give him $65,000 out of the $1 million that he needs, because he was paying $65,000 of it was going to his payroll. And I said, watch us lose this money. I'm gonna show you how easy it is to lose $65,000. That's what I'm doing here. This is a $65,000 lesson to show you how to save $1 million, to lose $65,000, so that you know every time we do a loan like this, Jade, you know exactly what it feels like to lose $65,000, okay? Everything about this thing stunk. So I text Jade today, I go, have we gotten paid back yet? And she goes, nope, we haven't. I go, I told you. When I wired the money, this is what I told Jade. I said, say goodbye to this money forever. We are gifting it. Every single time you do a deal, even if you follow all of these rules, I'm gonna say that a third time, even if you follow all of these rules, plan on losing every mother freaking penny when you wire that money. Plan on it. It's gone. You are gambling on a Gator 3.0 deal, which is private money lending, okay? I'm not even done yet. When wiring money, plan on never, ever, 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 ever seeing it again. Ever, ever, ever. I'd follow all of these rules, the money's effing gone. It's gone, plan on it. Go to bed that night going, that money's gone. I'm never gonna see it again. It's a bonus if you ever see it again. Hire transaction coordinator. We just got a call from somebody, Eric got a call from somebody, says, hey, I sold my house, sub 2, and the borrower is not communicating with, or the buyer is not communicating with me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who to contact. I don't know what's going on. We brought up servicing to the seller, and the seller's like, what's servicing? What's this? What's that? Obviously, the person did not hire a TC. So any transaction you are in, make sure there's a TC. But Pace, I know the person. I'm friends with them. I hang out with them. We're in a very tight circle with each other. I don't give a flying mother truck. Hire a TC. No, we don't have time for a TC. Perfect. I'm out. Anytime you get pressured, that's rule number 20. Anytime you feel pressure, you walk away. You feel pressure, walk away. You feel pressure, walk away. Okay? Always have a recourse of 150% of the loan. What does that mean? Recourse means if I get screwed on the loan, I have a way of getting 150% of my money somewhere else. What does that mean? It means they have other assets, they have other loans, they have other situations. So I'm doing a loan right now for a gentleman named Tim. Okay, I'm buying Tim's house. He's in foreclosure. Okay, Tim owes $350,000 on the house. His house is worth $650,000. Pretty good spread there. He doesn't want to move out of the house. So instead of doing a cash offer or even a sub-2 deal and he pulls out of the house, I said, here's what I'll do, Tim. I will come along, buy the house at $350,000 with a DSCR loan, and I will now own the house, let you stay there, and I'll lease it back to you. You can now buy it back from me at $475,000. I can make it $125,000, but you have 6 months to do that. If you don't complete the loan, I'll give you another 90 days for another 25 grand, and so on. You heard that deal. But I also have collateral of 3 lots in Seattle that are worth $300,000, and I have a boat that's worth $125,000, and he is assigned an $80,000 bonus that he's getting in March, verified with his employer. His employer has already assigned this $80,000 over to me. Do I have enough collateral, including the house, to do this deal? Yes. Okay. Do not do a loan unless you have 150% recourse. Well, Pace, they don't have any other assets. Great, then don't do the loan. Lien, promissory note, personal guarantee, collateral, and be on their operating agreement on the LLC is the full package. Hey, will you let me put a lien on property? Basic. Promissory note, basic. Personal guarantee, now you should be that's kind of standard. I want collateral, standard. Operating agreement in the LLC that states I don't have to foreclose on you. I just take over the LLC if you fail to perform. That is grade A. Does that make sense? Vet the deal yourself, then buy 2 other people. Guaranteed you haven't done that. Higher risk, higher reward, it means personal cash. I'm also doing another deal right now with a lady named Joy. I'm helping her save herself from foreclosure, putting $40,000 into the deal. I'm making $18,000 return, which is nice. I'm also giving her, out of all the money I'm coming up with to save her from foreclosure, I'm putting up $5,000 in cash to her and $5,000 in cash to buy a car for her that will be in my name, obviously. That $5,000 is out of all the $40,000 I'm lending, only $5,000 of it doesn't go to a thing. So here's how that's working. So out of the 40 grand, I am giving $20,000 for the arrears to catch up the house. I'm gonna pay $5,000 in a couple of monthly payments going forward so she stays out of foreclosure, $5,000 in a new car, miscellaneous stuff of $5,000 for TC fee, insurance, AAA for the car, blah, 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 whatever. Let's just call it miscellaneous. And then I've got $5,000 in cash that's gonna go to her. That $5,000 in cash, I might as well just plan on that being bought as fentanyl or meth or something. You have to know, the higher the risk, the higher the reward. People will chase this and go, yeah, but I'm gonna make a lot of money. And they'll give somebody personal cash. Guys, that money's burned immediately. I know that when I do the loan. I'm aware of it, and it's nobody's fault but my own, and I take personal relationship with my money in this situation, okay? But Pace, it's a deal.
No buts.
Record all conversations, voice, Zoom, everything. Something that's very important for all you Android users, I don't get it. I don't get the Android thing. It's so crazy to me. It's like in the world of technology, why? Nobody wants you guys to be in our group chat. You guys, who's the Android? You're the Android user. Yeah. What the fudge? Everybody on the planet wants to kick your ass. Everybody. Nobody wants you in the group chat. Why would you put that pain on yourself? They go, my camera's amazing. Okay, great. The only thing you should ever have an Android for is to record your iPhone conversations. Okay? So this is last year's iPhone. I always get the new one. Why? Because I make all my money with what? My mouth and my vocal cords. I'm gonna get the best piece of technology every single year. People, I'm gonna wait 3 years to get the phone. That tells me you don't know where your money's made. I get the best phone that all the millionaires use. Millionaires don't use Androids, just FYI. I've never met a millionaire that has an Android. Never once, unless they own Samsung or some stupid. So I use last year's phone. as my way to record all my conversations. So I'm on this phone, I press record and I can hear every little thing. So every promise I make, every little thing is in a voice memo that I save and I put into a Dropbox. I record every single conversation. Why? Because somebody will say, I didn't say that. No, that's not what I said. What I said was this. Well, hey, here's a clip. Okay? I choose to put everything on Zoom. Even when I talk to sellers, I talk to the seller, I get on Zoom with them. Hey, you guys want to see something really interesting? This is a call I did yesterday with a seller. And the first thing I said to her was, hey, just so you know, I'm doing this recording to protect myself from you. Let's watch this just real quick. It's only a 28-minute phone or thing, but I will not have a call in my life about money that is not recorded. I never one time in my life will I not record the call. The reason for this video is actually to protect me and my company because there's this really famous saying, you've probably heard it before. The saying is, no good deed goes unpunished. Okay, that's at 1:30 in the conversation. This recording is to protect me and my company. There's a famous saying that says, no good deed goes unpunished. Have you ever heard of that before? And then I have her answer, oh yeah, but I'll never take advantage of you. Yeah. Now you say that, but if I didn't record it, now she's in foreclosure. I'm saving her from foreclosure and I'm making money out of her equity. Is there a point that when I save her, that now she's no longer in pain, she's no longer in distress? Is there a point where now all the pain and anger goes away? That now all of us, she's gonna have a lot more clarity in her life. You're like, I don't wanna sell my house. Is there a possibility of that happening? So you're telling me that my money wiring into her account and solving her problems actually does something bad for me? Okay, well, I better record every single conversation I have with every single person about my money, okay? Now, this is also when I call the borrower, I call the title company, I call the guy that I was gonna do the big $1 million loan for. He says, well, you know, call my lender, the one that's gonna give me $6 million in a couple of weeks, call him. I call that guy, I record that conversation. Does not matter. On a big deal like that, you're usually having 20, 30 calls. I record every single one, every single mother freaking one, okay? Document everything, emails, text messages, etc. Throw them all in a Dropbox, throw them all there so you never have to look for them ever again. And I even communicate with the people, hey, just so you know, everything we've talked about, everything blah, blah, blah. I'm just gonna put all of our communication in this Dropbox so we can just have kind of a central location for all of our communication, copy of the Zooms, copy of the this, that, and the other. Why am I doing that? I will let that lady have access to all of those recordings. Now, of course, she can't delete them. She can download them, but she can't delete them. Why will I do that? It's because to remind her what she told me. And if she ever came back at the end, my last question that I asked this lady, last question. Is there any reason someone would hear from you that I took advantage of you or tried to take something from you that we did not agree to? Is there any, in the future, if somebody comes to you and says, wait, did that guy Case really help you? Is there any reason you would say no? No. Okay. Okay. It might seem inconsequential and wow, that's a lot of work. Yeah, I want to make a lot of money. I'm going to do a lot of work. I'm willing to do that. But what I don't want to do is give somebody money and not have a conversation that's recorded and be able to remind them. And what happens is in their mind, they go, damn, he recorded everything I said. I can't squeeze out of this conversation and I can't manipulate his words. Document everything, emails, etc., blah, blah, blah. When you lose the money, because what did I say? Don't lend money that you can't lose and never see the money ever again and don't trust anyone. When you do lose your money, who do we blame? Yourself. You don't call me, you don't text me, I don't want to hear about it. I don't ever want to hear about it. Don't come to me. This is what's so funny about in Gator. For every 1,000 loans that are done successfully, one loan is done unsuccessfully, and the only thing that ever gets talked about is the bad loan. It's human nature. Loan to own, what does that mean? Loan to own means that house that I loaned to the gentleman in New Mexico, he has a flip, he's never touched it. I loaned the money to him 2.5 years ago, $350,000. He has literally never even gotten to the property in 2.5 years. Now I'm having to take over the property, sell the property at a loss, then go to him. I have a personal guarantee. I'm gonna be chasing him around for about $175,000 for the next 20, 30 years. But I will get my money back. and I will get it with interest. Because I have a personal guarantee on him and his wife. Quick tip there, don't get a personal guarantee only on the husband, get it on both husband and wife. Why? Because they can independently file bankruptcy and transfer assets between each other and play the cup game. You know, you've seen in Central Park that they play where where's the ball, where's the ball, where's the ball? Well, the reality is the ball was never on the table. They picked it up every time which one is it? Okay, if you only get bankruptcy on one person or a personal guarantee on one person in the marriage, you failed. You might as well not even have gotten it. So I went and got the personal guarantee on him and his wife. And when I asked for it for his wife, guess what happened? Oh, I don't know, man. That seems like a lot overreaching. I'm like, but you have $390,000 of my money. And I have recordings. Okay, man, okay. You know what I had to do? I had to send him a voice memo. I go, hey, if I don't get a personal guarantee in the next 10 days, I did this wrong. I should have done it up front. Now I'm going back 2 years after he took my money and went and bought an RV and been traveling around the country. I now have to go back and tell him and his wife, hey, I'm gonna do a whole YouTube video on what happens when you loan money incorrectly. And I'm gonna bring up your name, your wife's name, and I'm gonna release all the recordings of like you begging me for the money and that you'd never screw me and that I've changed your entire life and without you, without me, you'd be somewhere, blah, 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 blah. And you still screw me. And I'm gonna really do a video on never trust anybody. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter what they say, and you are gonna teach a lot of people how to not lend money, so thank you so much. Okay, we'll sign the personal guarantee tomorrow. Don't put yourself in a situation, I can get myself out of situations because I've put 15 years of building a brand. Other people in here, you Android users, okay? Loan to own, you gotta take that property back. Plan accordingly means you lend the money today. The project doesn't happen, the money goes somewhere else. It gets burned. In fact, whoever receives it, title company, we already know. The money should go to a title company, right? We already know. That's like, I can't even believe I even have to say that out loud. Wherever the money goes, it's gonna get burned up alive. If you now have to take this asset over and all the money that you were gonna renovate the property with is gone, that should be your plan. That's your worst case plan. Now you have to hire an attorney, go through foreclosure, pace, oh my gosh, now there's payments on the loan. I got to catch up those payments. Like literally plan what's the worst case scenario, okay? FOMO equals death of your money. This is the worst part of this whole entire thing. FOMO is the death of your money. But I could make so much money. But I could make so much money. But I could make so much money. And guess what they always effing do? I need the money today. Pressure, pressure, pressure. We haven't even talked about this deal and I already know you're feeling pressure. I got to wire the money today, and none of this has happened. And they're putting pressure on you. What's the answer to the loan situation? That's the answer. This is my money. My money equals my life force. I'm not willing to put my life force into earning money and then you steal my money and think of it as just paper. No, that's my life force. I gave my life up. I sacrificed time with my family, my health, my this to earn that money. And you didn't steal my money, you stole my life. That's why I say, and I'm unapologetic about it because you stole my life force, correct everybody? Sorry if you don't like jokes. Call all parties involved, verify twice. Who's the lender, who's the this, who's that person, where's the money going, who's the contractor? Do you know how many times people will lend money on a deal and they don't even know who the contractor is? Contractors, it's their first job. They're not even licensed and you're deploying $100,000, $200,000. How do I verify the contractor? A good project you should be probably on a decent sized loan. Now, EMD is very different. This is not Gator 1 or Gator 2. This is Gator 3 or higher, right? So when you're doing Gator 3.0 and you don't know who the contractor is and what were their last 3 projects they successfully completed and what was their timeline, their budget, and did they hit their timeline? Did they hit their budget? If you don't know that answer, should you be wiring money for that contractor? No, you have not done any of that work. I can guarantee it. Nobody does. And they're, oh, but they need the money right now. I'll verify it after the money. Okay, this goes down to this, and I'll get to this in a second. Use appropriate paperwork. So stupid, but use appropriate paperwork, use appropriate paperwork, use appropriate paperwork. TC, all of these things. It is so crazy how many times people will just wire money without even documenting anything. Ask what if blank happens at least 25 different ways. What if this person you're lending money to dies? Does this stuff happen in real life? So you're not just lending on a project, you're lending to a human being. What if you die? What if you get sick? What if your wife divorces you? What if one of your kids dies? Is this real life? Okay, so is this right here? What if this happens? What if your wife divorces you? What if I find out you've been cheating on your wife? This stuff does impact the projects. Man, my wife found out that I've been cheating on her. I'm not gonna be able to communicate for the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm trying to deal with some personal stuff. Do you know how many times I've done loans with people that are dealing with personal things, and now their personal thing is way more important than my project? So many times, guys, it happens all the time. This is another thing. What if you don't communicate with me? What if I can't get a hold of you? What if this happens? What if you burn through the money? What if you go over a project? What if the house doesn't sell on time? What if I don't get paid back my money in the time frame that you told me I would? What if? 25 what ifs. Do you see these what ifs that nobody else ever asks? One of the most important what ifs is, I did a whole Zoom about this. I brought in an attorney that came in and we did I think it was a 2.5 hour Zoom, and I did a what if scenario of like 40 what ifs, and every one of them, people were like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. And the what if that was the most amazing one was like, what if you stopped communicating with me? And people were like I just explained like human evolution to them. What if you stop communicating with me? What's my recourse? How do I protect myself in the event that you stop communicating? Well, this person's really high level in the community. They've been around a long time, and Pace, you say their name all the time and you posture them up all the time. Who fudging cares? When goes bad, they're gonna blame you. Has anybody ever done something nice for somebody and somehow it gets blamed on you? Oh yeah! Every good deed will punish you. No good deed goes unpunished. Sadly, somebody's always gonna have something to say. So you're gonna go and help this person. You think you're helping them by wiring the money right now and not doing your job. And you're gonna put yourself in a situation where there's a what if that you didn't ask, and you go, gosh, damn it, I did the thing. Do not trust anyone, okay? The what if thing, this is probably one of the biggest things. Was this a big takeaway for you guys? We got time. What if they stop communicating? What do you do? And then here, when should I have my updates? Every Friday. What if I don't get my updates on Friday? What if I don't? Well, I always will, I know, but what if I don't? What if you blame me for something? What if we go over the budget? What if this doesn't happen? What if the economy crashes? What's our game plan? What if? If you don't have at least 25 different ways that you've asked the what if, do not wire the money. 25, think of 20, I'm telling you right now. Do not text me, do not post in the Facebook group, do not ever say a single thing about your loan if you did not ask 25 what ifs and do all of these other things. And even after you do the 25 what ifs, say goodbye to your money. Say goodbye. Goodbye. Post-wire clarity. Here's what's gonna happen. You're excited before the wire goes out because I'm gonna do a deal. 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 I'm gonna get. You wire the money and all of a sudden the clarity comes and you go, what did I just do? Oh my gosh, I have no control. The money's no longer in my account. I have no control. What did I just do? Think about that time in your life, those times in your life where you've done something you know you shouldn't have done, and then after you did the thing, you said, I wish I could jump in a time machine right now and redo what I just did. That is going to happen every single time you wire money. You're gonna go, what did I just, even if you do all of this properly on Gator 3.0, you're still gonna feel this way. So pause for a second, take a deep breath, and go and pretend as if you've already wired the money. You have no control anymore. The money's already gone. Now what? You're praying entirely on somebody else's word. You're betting on somebody else, which is a dangerous prospect, okay? If you have to sue someone, you didn't do it right. Somebody right now is suing a gentleman we kicked out of sub 2 3 years ago because he took on many projects, borrowed too much money, and she's having to sue him. Why? Because she didn't get a lien, she didn't get a promissory note, she didn't get a personal guarantee, no other collateral, and she wasn't on his operating agreement, so she's having to sue him to try and take these houses back. She should have been on the property and she should have owned the property with him, and she should have planned on loaning to own. She didn't do any of that, okay? Who's she mad at? Everybody but herself. It happens all the time. This guy screwed me. No, you gifted the money to him and he just didn't say thank you. That's what you're upset about. If you have to sue someone, you didn't do it right. Well, sue him. I get this, people will DM me, text me all the time. Oh man, I did 32 deals this year. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then the next one is like, so I lost money and I'm gonna sue the person. I'm like, why would you sue the person if you did this all right? Oh, because I didn't hire a TC because I was trying to save $1,000. Okay, so you know you broke a rule. Please, if you break a rule, don't message me. I don't want to hear about it. Just say, I broke a rule and I lost money. Here's what you should say. I broke a rule and I deserve to lose money. That's it. I broke a rule and I deserve to lose money. Lessons learned. I don't even want to hear about it. I already know what you did. When somebody says I lost money, guess what I already know 100% of the time. They broke all of the rules. Not one, all of them. I prefer to own the property during the project. So for me, I own the property. So when I'm loaning on somebody's fix and flip, I get the fix and flip loan and I cover the bridge debt. Does that make sense? So when they're like, hey, I'm gonna get the loan to flip the property and I just need you to be the bridge carrier, I need you to bring in the bridge capital, no problem. Can I qualify for the loan? And can I own the project through the entire thing so that when things go bad, I don't need a phone call with you. I don't need your permission. I just go get the F off my job site and I will find my own contractor and fix the property. Okay, this is happening to me right now in Corpus Christi. I have a project right now that we bought the property and I was the bridge lender as well. And the person just basically is like, look, man, everything's going wrong. Everything's going wrong. The contractor won't show up. And I was like, just get off their job site. I'll finish the project and just go away. But imagine if I was in the other situation and they're like, oh, contractor. It will happen. What control do you have? None. You have zero control. You're along for the ride. Okay? Has this been helpful for anybody?
Yes.
Hey guys, welcome to the Get Creative Podcast. I've got Lizeth with me, and today we're going to be talking about stay-at-home moms and stay-at-home dads. Lizeth did not want to leave out some of the dudes out there that are staying home too. We understand that there's a lot of people that have that dynamic as well. But Lizeth wants to talk about her deals, her business, all around Gator. She's both a Sub-2 community member and a Gator, and she's been focusing primarily on private money lending. And she's doing this all from home as a stay-at-home mother. Lizeth, thank you for coming to the show. How are you doing?
Very excited. Thank you for the opportunity, Paige. First of all, I want to start saying thank you, for building such a great community. I don't know what I would be right now if it wouldn't be for this community and the members in this community. So this is great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's honestly like one of the greatest gifts of my life is just becoming friends with everybody in the community. It's so freaking fun. So tell me, let's talk about a deal. Let's talk about a recent PML deal that you've done. Tell me like what kind of deal that you were lending on, where the deal came from, how much money did you bring to the table? How much money did you make? How long did it take? Tell me the whole story. I want to take notes.
So this one was actually my third deal, because my first deal was I was not even a Gator when I did my first deal, because I had the opportunity to get to know Jake Ballard, one of the leaders, and he, introduced me to Gators, so it was great. But this was my third deal, and it was with one of my friends and connectors, Christina Creole. She is also part of the Gator community. So the interesting part about this deal was that, it didn't require me, much funds, but the return was really great. It was 35%.
Really?
And it was only for 60 days. And the deal was to fund one of the one of the properties that this investor is buying on a scale. So this is actually my third. It was my third, but then I have funded five other deals for this same investor. So
no,
yes,
5 deals for the same person. That's amazing.
It's going to continue, because as I said, I was able to build a long-lasting relationship with Christina, who I met through another Gator, Jessica Smith. So she contacted me because I think we were going through the process of like, make friends, network. And so she reached out to me and we had a call with Jessica Smith. And then she wanted to wrestle a deal with me. That didn't happen, but then that opened to other conversations. And so she found out that I was a private money lender and that I was open to fund and got fundings, right? And so that's when Christina Creole came to me. And since then, she's been always putting me in the top list, to send me deals. So whenever I say, oh no, I cannot fund it for maybe because my funds are tight or something like that, then she will pass to other, private money lenders. But it's so awesome to have, the opportunity to wait for those deals to come to you because of that relationship. So yeah, and then this deal, even though that it was late, what I want to highlight, about my connector is that she was always on top of everything. She makes sure that I got paid for every single day that it was late. So not only give me the confidence, because I know things happen on a deal, sometimes it's gonna be late, but the fact that this investor performed, it gave me the trust, to keep working with him. So it was for 36K 500, but I made a total of almost 15,000 on that deal.
Wow.
Because it was the return 12,775, and then I got around like 2,000 and late fees.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay. What was the investor doing? Why did they need the money?
Well, he buys properties and actions. So this was a first position. So he pretty much wanted to buy it, rehab it, and then list it in the market.
Okay, got it. So he's a fix and flipper. He needed the $36,000 to buy the property completely, or just for the renovation cost?
Completely, because he buys in action, so he buys very cheap.
Wow. Okay, cool. So you've already done 5 deals with this one investor. Could you tell me how much money you've made collectively from this investor? Have you made like 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand from this investor? You mean you made 15 grand more?
More than that. Yeah. I don't have that on top of my mind, but I don't want to also underestimate my other deals, because something that I started to do in order to give back to the community was like rustling deals, because I feel like once you do your first deal, the ball start rolling. So that's something I want to help, especially to those who are struggling in starting the process. So what I do is like, let's say, maybe this connector comes to me, right? And there's a deal for 60K. And then I already made a connection with other engators that I know they want to, do a deal. And so I reach out to them and let them know that, oh, I have this opportunity because I know the investor is better. So you want to wrestle with me. And so let's say they have only 20K. I let them come in with the 20K and I just fund the rest. And so that way, I give them the opportunity to fund for a better investor, build a relationship not only with the connector and the investor, but also meet another new friend, right? That I'm helping him somehow. So, and everybody gets benefit of that. So that's something that I really love to do. And in total, I've done about like 11 deals, and I'm gonna fund other 2 deals this coming Monday.
Wow.
That has made me like over 140K so far only in returns. And I'm very thank you, Pace, because this means so much to me. Staying at home, it's great, but as a stay-mom home, I always been an entrepreneur from soul, and I love to be with my little ones, but also you have that part of you where like you want to keep growing, right? And this is allowing me not just to, it's not about the money, it's about fulfilling a purpose. And for me, it's like, this is helping me to really look after my little ones, setting up the example that they can dream and big, and nothing is gonna be impossible. And being the fact that I'm an immigrant, I'm originally from Ecuador, and I never would imagine that this was possible, for someone like me, where my parents didn't even have the opportunity to go to high school, didn't have the opportunity to do a lot of things. And this is just great. I don't know. I don't have words. And that's what I really want to emphasize, the opportunities that come along from being in this community. And I really want to be intentional about helping other full-time moms, stay-at-home parents, because there's also moms and dads, that they can do, things like this with not sacrificing the time away from the little ones, and it only requires maybe like a couple hours a day, or while your little ones are napping, you build the skills, because you really have to also, get the knowledge, right? Because it's an opportunity for you. Because this is something that I'm doing right now. And then as I've been connecting with other people in the community, now I'm also being a connector, something that it's gonna also be helping me, to help other full-time moms that are in my team. So there are full-time moms that I can prove them that, oh, you know what, I'm doing this, you can also do this. So yeah, we have a team, and it's called Nurture Capital Solution.
Wow, I love that name. That's a great name.
Yeah, I love it too.
Wow, I freaking love this. You've got, okay, let's go through this one more time. So you joined, I mean, you've been in the community for a while. You're also in sub 2, and obviously the community is the greatest thing. Jake Villaret helped you get your first Gator deal. He's one of our trainers inside of Gator. You then joined Gator. You've done 11 deals or so. You've made over $140,000 in profit, full-time, stay-at-home mom, as an immigrant. Your parents didn't even have the opportunity to go to high school, and here you are working from home, taking care of your little kids and the house, and still making 140 grand. And it hasn't even been a full year, which is freaking amazing. So here you are, going into this coming year. What do you think your possibilities are to make money? You think you could make $250,000 this year?
Well, actually, I was a little bit more aggressive than that, because I told my husband, look, this is how much I made, because everything is in a spreadsheet, I have to keep everything organized. And I was like, I was able to do this in less than 6 months. I was not even, completely like on top of this. So I think I can do like around 300 to 350, I told him. And he's like, you're really sure? I'm like, are you looking at this? And she's like, I know you can do it. So yeah, that's my goal for this year, only being a private money lender. But on top of that, as I say, I also have a team, and we are now connecting. So, and it's something that I'm not even counting on that, because that's going to be for the team as a whole. But yeah.
Can you have, you want other Gators to join your team as well, right? The stay-at-home moms, you want them to join your team.
Yeah, and nothing against, the other women out there, but it's just that I feel like we have unique struggles that we go to, and we want to support each other. And I feel like we also have some limited time, right? And that's something that I had to also tell to myself. It's okay for you to do what you can and not to do everything, because once you're in the community, oh my gosh, you see all the things that you can do. But for me, it's like, okay, that's for later, right? Right now, I can only do this, and it's been great. So yeah, that's something I want to do. Like, I want to bring other full-time moms, other full-time dads, right, that are struggling, maybe thinking that, oh, this is not going to be possible. So since I also have experience being an investor and a private money lender, so I know both sides, and how to make things happen. So
I think you could make more than $250,000 for sure. I bet you, as you get your systems and processes going, I think in 2025, you could probably make $500,000 doing this.
For sure.
That's insane. Like, think about that. Stay at home making $500,000 a year. That's insanity.
Without counting the opportunities, that I've been having as an end buyer too, because you just are, you just have access to everything, and that also, of course, it comes with the networking. So I'm buying possibly like 2 sub 2 deals, in the coming next weeks. And so, yeah, I'm happy, because I was so frustrated thinking that, oh my gosh, I need to do all the cold calling, all the, the closings and things like that. And I was frustrating with sub 2 because I started back in March of last year. Yes, it was my fault. I was not really focusing on only one thing. But then I started doing this, and I was like, my goodness, everybody comes to me, everything comes to me, because they know I have the funds, but they also know that I'm an end buyer, and that's all they need to know. And everybody is working, doing the things that I don't want to do, and I can't do right now for the little time that I have. And it's great. It's great because after all, you are still building, like your dreams and reaching your goals. It's just great. And everything is because of the community. Yeah.
Well, you're also taking action, which I'm super proud of you. And, I just made this post in the Gator group and told everybody, hey guys, connect with Lizeth. And I had like 5 people underneath the comment already saying, oh my gosh, she's my friend. I love her. She's the best. And so
It's just, that's great. You've got Brenda Villafranco just said, "Oh my gosh, that's one of my best friends." So you've got so many amazing friends in the community. Yeah.
We partnered on a deal for Christina Creel, and that's what I like to do, And so everybody, that haven't done their first deal, if you're afraid, if you don't know how to underwrite it, if you just, don't know how to take action, reach out to me. I'm willing to help you in any way. We can help you underwrite it. We can help look at the deal. If you want to wrestle it with me, you don't have all the funds, I'm here too. I will be happy to do that, because I really know that after you start doing your first deal, you have everything starts, rolling, and then you also start having a better vision, because sometimes you think like, oh, this is what I want to do. But then it's after you do the first deal, and then the next after that, you start having more clarity. Like, look at me right now. I started with something very different last year, but now I'm very intentional about what I want. And then it's not about me. It's about also helping the community, right? And then you feel fulfilled. And that's what I want to do.
Super proud of you. Amazing. Guys, please go follow her on Instagram. If you are inside the community, go and connect with her. She wants to help you get your first deal. And that concludes our show. Thank you so much, Lizeth. I appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, I'm here with Ryan Schroep. We're going to be talking about a lot of Gator deals that Ryan's been doing. In fact, Ryan just did a deal this last weekend with Eric, our camera guy, who's sitting over here to the right. Bro, where'd that deal come from? What was that deal all about? The one that you guys funded. You guys did a $5,000 Gator EMD loan, I believe, and you got $2,000 back in like a 7 or 8 day period. What was the deal? Why did somebody need $5,000?
It's all inbound leads. That one's a repeat client or customer, whatever you want to call it, that I work with all the time. They do, I believe, a lot of fix and flips, and so they get Gator loans, they get hard money to come in and cover it on the back end. And
it's crazy. So I bought a title company. I figured out this whole thing and the strategy probably about 8 years ago, and I started doing it. And then I realized in the community a couple of years ago, I was like, man, there's a massive need here. Let's like identify this, let's call it something, blah, blah, blah. And that's basically what you've been doing. Probably 80% of your activity has been Gator stuff, right?
Yeah, 80% of my revenue. For sure.
And where are your inbound leads coming from? Inside the community primarily?
Started with warm leads, which was that denial phase of like, nobody needs it, right? Which a lot of people say, right? I mean, I'm sure you hear that. I heard it all the time, and I said it myself.
I mean, I hear it all the time with sub 2. It's like, why would somebody sell their house to you sub 2? And then you go do
100 of them.
Then you go do hundreds of them, and you're like, why would anybody not do sub 2?
So the leads at first, I got past the denial phase through Kevin. Kevin was like, dude, I'm doing a couple of these, you should try it out. And so I kind of put my stuff together, got my bank account ready, whatever, all that. And then I just said, I'm just gonna put it out there. And maybe it'll take, maybe I'll never get a deal.
So put it out there, so maybe posting in like sub 2, posting in the free Facebook group, posting on your socials.
I actually have been trying to push people away from that in a sense. So what I did was I did warm first. I went to meetups, I went to people that were already wholesaling.
This is one of the biggest challenges. So like obviously in our community, which, you're a leader in our community and you help out tremendously. You're out in Jacksonville. So anybody wants to know where Ryan's at, he's in Jacksonville. We just finished a YouTube video, which is why I'm interrupting this YouTube video. We were talking about how all the ways that a Gator makes money in a real estate transaction. Look at all these ways. If you're trying to get started in real estate and you don't want to be the person cold calling and finding the deals and you go, man, I just want to sit back and give money to other people's transactions. Well, joining Gator, you're going to get corporate credit, access to capital, and access to my money. You'll never have to use any of your own money if you don't want to joining Gator. So if you want to get started making money on all these types of transactions, go to joingatortribe.com. What's interesting is our community is so amazing, so you can go do deals, you can collaborate with each other. People are doing so many deals inside of the community. But the challenge is like, if you're trying to land loans inside of the community, you're gonna have a hard time doing that. And you've got to connect with people in person. And so I tell the Gators, like, guys, get out of the community. You should use the community to gather money, but use the money to go fund deals outside of the community. So you started going to physical meetups.
Yeah, and exactly what you said, right? So there's, we have a pretty large community, but in the grand scheme of things, it's, 1% of 1% of 1% of people that are in real estate, right?
What you're saying is that you get outside of our community, there's plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, a little bit of both. So I started with the warm outreach, and the reason behind that was because it's something I push a lot, which is, I didn't have any credibility. I hadn't done it, and I think you don't necessarily have to have as much credibility in lending as maybe some stuff. But if I was to come to you, and then this random guy on the street was to come to you, you'd probably say, sure, Ryan, I'll lend with you, we'll work together, we'll build a relationship, whatever. And so that was my approach was, hey, I'm gonna get into these deals. I talked to Kevin about he was doing, and I basically said, I'm gonna do it for half that rate because I've never done it. And my entire goal was just learn the process, right? Fund deals, get them back, get that feeling of doing deals and kind of, you know, figuring that out. And so my first 2 or 3 people was just talking to warm leads and basically selling them on the concept of working with me. Like, hey, I'll do it for a lower rate. I'll fund every single deal. One of my main things that I still push is I'll fund your deal in under 30 minutes every time. Stuff like that I can push, that's just hitting the pain points. And then from there, I went full leverage. So my goal there was pure volume. Money was a side effect for sure, but pure volume. It was, let me just do as many deals as I can, because I can then go leverage that and say, for example, I have a post that I could still go back to where somebody posted and said, I need somebody that can fund 7+ deals a month. It got like 500 comments, whatever, you know, everybody wanted to fund the deal. And I said, hey man, I just funded 7 deals this week. So if you want somebody that is already doing it, I can show you how my process works. And he called me immediately and was like, I don't want to deal with somebody, you know, that hasn't done anything. I see what you're doing. I appreciate that. Let's do it.
It's really smart. I see a lot of people that just expect right when they first start out, everything's going to be an easy button.
That was easy.
Actually, really, if you think about it, Gator, Sub 2, the strategies that we all have in this community of ours, those are the easy button, really, right? You have advantages over every other wholesaler, every other fix and flipper, everybody is doing burst strategy. Like, we have all the advantages as tools in our toolkit.
Yeah, and from there, you know, talking about leads, it's very much one of those concepts where, you know, once you build that foundation, it's so cool because it's basically impossible to stop the leads. My first week when I did a deal every single day, which was my original goal that Kevin and I actually set, I probably have a recording of it. I was like, Kevin, 7 deals a day. And he's like, it's just a goal, you know, just try for it, right? And so the first time I actually hit that, made a post, and everybody sees that, and there's 2 sides. One is like, how the heck do you do this? And the other one is
you apply it, you do the work. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, guys. Like,
but then the other side is the inbound leads, right? So then everybody sees that, and that first post I made that I did 7 deals in a week, I probably get at least 3, 4, 5 DMs a week just from that post that reference the post or, you know, comment on or whatever.
This was posted in the Sub 2 Facebook group. I remember seeing this post.
Yeah. So,
and you've made other posts as well that I see, and I'm like, this is really smart marketing. It's a really great way to get yourself out there in the community. And essentially you're creating evergreen leads as well, where somebody will filter, somebody will type in the search function like lending or funding deals or whatever, and your posts will get priority because there's people actually commenting. You've done a great job.
Interaction, right?
Yeah, and you're not just being ambiguous of like, I'll fund your deals, here's my information.
I have a very structured, maybe not too structured, but a pretty structured way that I do it now because I've played trial and error a little bit. And like I did a somewhat similar post to that only, you know, I'd had 5 likes and nobody saw it, right? And sometimes that happens. But whenever I have one that does hit, it's like, okay, how did this work and how can I provide value through it? And so basically what I do now is I talk about what I'm doing to kind of show credibility, and then I'll leave some tips on stuff like, this is a couple things I've learned recently through my deals. So what goes bad, this is what goes wrong, this is how you can apply it. And that way I'm levering that credibility to, again, where I can teach people, but also people see that and say, I want to work with this guy, right? My leads are all inbound now, like 100%. I don't do outreach at all. And every single inbound lead that we close a deal, you also get kind of that fourth way, which is referral, right? Go tell your friends.
You got the referral, which is great, but also you get a repeat customer that keeps coming back because they know that you fulfilled and that you treated them well, you did it fast, you didn't, you know, it wasn't hard to get a hold of you.
Right off the bat, I learned, and this was even like in those first couple of meetups, what would make you work with somebody? Well, one of them is speed, right? And so I wouldn't call myself a visionary integrator. I don't know where I fit in that exactly, but I do systems. I was an engineer before this. So I built those systems out pretty quickly. Like, so you say they miss the DMs. For me, when somebody submits a request, I get an email, I get multiple text messages. It sends them messages. It's very in my face, right? Like I have one of my better stories. I had somebody reach out at 4:57 that needed a deal funded by 5 o'clock by close, and I did it. And I have proof of that. And so, you know, deals like that, like that one was a tough one, right? I was like, I had to drop everything and be like, I gotta crank this out. I got 3 minutes to call the title company, do all the stuff I have to do, send the contracts. It was very fast. But the point is, I do that stuff and I prove that speed to them. And that person, you know, that was one of many people I work with that say, I'm not gonna work with anybody else. I mean, what could you do that could be better, faster than what I just did?
You know, what's interesting about this is that people will, who don't have a brain to market are abundant actually. And what you did is you actually read a book, or you give credit to the person who helped teach you, which is amazing. Another really powerful thing about people I love hanging out with. Like you guys ever hear, did I ever invent creative finance? No. Eileen Brown taught me, my title rep, right? She taught me through all the things. And what I didn't know, I read. What I love is you give credit to Alex Hormozi on the marketing side of things of like, let me show basically the 4 pillars of the marketing strategy, and you actually go to put it to work. Other people
people will go, oh, Ryan's figured out the only way to do this and he's already doing it, so I can't do it either. One, pick up a book, read about marketing, be a business person and actually go and apply it. I admire that about you. Two, go and kind of cut your way. Like, you're still learning stuff, right? You've been doing this a couple of months. You haven't built a perfect process yet. I'm sure that even this last week, you're probably thinking, what could I do better? How can I improve? Other people are watching, oh, he's figured it out.
We worked on it most of the day yesterday. Process is still there, but that is the leads. So now, snowball, right? And the interesting thing that's not necessarily measurable is that, some of my best people now are people that when I connected with them originally didn't even do deals, right? But we work with people that are evolving. And so they're gonna start doing deals and bring them in.
I did this whole training in Sub 2 a couple months ago for a lot of the newbies. And I'm telling them, connect with each other, even the people that aren't doing deals. And they're like, somebody made a comment in the side chat and they're like, well, if they're not doing deals, what's the point of connecting with them? Oh my gosh. And I was like, think about Marlboro, right? The cigarette company. I know this is kind of a maniacal way to draw this conclusion, but cigarette companies are like, how do we get people to start smoking cigarettes? Well, we start by marketing to them when they're really young. So by the time they get to adulthood, they already believe that smoking Marlboro is a cool thing. It's almost like in the kid's mind, it's a rite of passage to become a smoker. And it becomes a goal of theirs to become a smoker. So they're building a relationship way earlier. I know this is also, again, a maniacal way to draw this parallel. But what you're doing is you're saying, I'm gonna build a relationship with the newer students. I'm gonna build a relationship with the people that aren't doing deals as much as I'm gonna build a relationship with people who are doing deals. So that when they do start getting deals and they have the hockey stick moment of like, I've got deals coming in, who are they gonna think of, right? The person who was there when they didn't have anything.
Yeah,
which is you.
I have proof of concept now, because I mean, some of the people I work with the most, and I talk to them all, how did you run into me? Like, when did we talk? How did you find out that I did this? And there's a lot of them that are, meetups or, outreach, like calendar calls. I used to do a ton of calendar calls. And at the end of every call, I never pitched it. Like, I don't think I've ever done no, my first ever deals, I did pitch it. But ever since then, I've never done it. I just say I do it.
So smart. There was this moment a couple of years ago in sub 2, and I said, you guys want to learn how to make a ton of money just inside the community? Just do calendar calls. Actually, I just had a student, I don't know if you guys know the story, on Get Creative, our podcast. I had a student I broke down, I did a one-on-one with him on Get Creative, and he says, I've been in Sub 2 for 2 months and I haven't gotten any traction. What do you think he's been doing? Nothing, obviously. Here's what I'll do. I'll pay you $5,000, and if 90 days, you've met 90 students in 90 days, you've had some conversations with them, and you haven't figured out how to make money in that 90 days, I'll pay you $5,000. 7 days later, he calls me up. Dude, I just made $15,000. Connecting two people together. And it's just from these one-on-one calls that you're doing, right? And what's smart about you is you're also not just throwing it in people's freaking face. You're saying, hey, let me tell you what I have to offer you. And what's happening is they might not need it, one, ever, two, right now, right? That they might use it later. Or three, they might not need it, but they know somebody else who does.
And usually they don't need it now. Right? And that's why I don't, if I had like one big pushback that I try and share with people, it's that they say, I'm a Gator lender, I lend EMD, when maybe they're not doing it, and they just try and push that, instead of just solving the problem. So like, again, going back to the first people I ever lent with, I was asking them what their issues were in their wholesale business and then kind of connected those dots. Like, I think I can
smart
actually help.
What is a realistic goal for a 12-month runway, what you think you could make in a year?
I will say on my runway, and this is something that gets missed a lot, because if you look at the first deal I ever did, you're right, I made money in a week or 2 weeks or whatever. But there was like a 6+ month runway just of networking. Right, my first 6 months in Sub 2 was making all the friends. I tried 10 different things, didn't know what the heck was going on, but the one thing I did consistently was network.
And along the way, you learn terminology, you learn what other people are doing in business. Like, one of the greatest parts about connecting with other people is that you see what other people are doing. Like, oh, I didn't even know that was a business model. Oh, I didn't even know that was a business model. So really, through networking, you're actually getting educated on the whole entire industry, which then gives you the ultimate knowledge to go, now I can apply this at a higher level, right? This is why we use the studio, Eric, because people have meltdowns. Okay, so what do you think and what somebody could make in a year? Do you think somebody could make a full-time income? Do you think somebody could make $100,000, $200,000 in their first year? Now, I know Gators are making a lot of money. We've got one Gator that made $400,000 last month. There's people making a lot of money, but from you, just using your model and in your mind, 2024, 2025, actually just use 2024. You have this whole year as a runway. What is your goal for what you want to make this year?
My best answer to this question is just talking about myself, because somebody made 400 grand, that wasn't me. I don't know what they do, but I can tell you what I do. So can somebody make a full-time income off of it? Yes, I quit my job to do it. So there's my answer. Yes, you can absolutely make a full-time income off of it. I wouldn't even say it's that hard. The numbers, will go, in general here, if you're doing, let's say 40, 50% return, that's like 25 grand that you would have to lend out in a month to make a 60 or 70,000. I don't know, I'm doing the math in my head here, but something like that, right? So 25 grand, if it's $5,000 EMD, that's 5 deals. Break that down to 5 deals a month. So is that doable? Absolutely. It's absolutely doable. This month, I'm gonna net around 20 to 25,000 on the EMD lending. And again, that's, if I could share my experience, it's that maybe I'm not doing 400,000 in a month, but that's with pretty reasonable amount of money. Right, I think I've lent out 70,000. I do 40%. So whatever 25,000 divided by 40%, that's like 60,000, 70,000.
The other person that made $400,000 last month, they actually did 0 EMD loans, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't.
I do a different thing.
Right, there's 7 strategies inside of Gator, and you're doing Gator strategy number 1, and they're doing Gator strategy number 4 and number 3. And so what they're doing is they're connecting deals. And they also they figured out this really interesting niche where they have developers that are needing development capital from big investor or big lenders. The lenders will not release money to them unless they show that they have money in their bank. So he brings a bunch of Gators together, shows that they have money, $1 million, $2 million, and then the lender will release money to the developer. The developer goes, I'll pay you 50 grand every time you do that. So he'll do that sometimes 3 or 4 times for other developers around the country.
Business is crazy.
The
world is crazy.
It's crazy. Okay, so like when I saw, the first time I did one of those deals was 2 years ago. It was $2 million. I got paid 50 grand on it. And I'm like, how did I just make 50 grand on that? Even like this weekend with you and Eric doing a deal together, you guys just made a 40% return, essentially. Yeah, it was a 40% return. So you put out 5 grand, you got $2,000 back. Even when you get that $2,000 for what you did, you're like, how did I just make $2,000?
Again, I don't know exactly how much time, but I should net somewhere around $20,000 to $25,000 this month. And I would say maybe an hour of work, maybe.
Total?
Total.
For the whole month?
Total.
Not per deal?
No, for the entire thing. And again, there's back to that, right? I have systems in place. So every single thing except for physically wiring the money, I have automated. So maybe it takes you a little bit longer for some stuff.
But you also, to give you a lot of credit, you joined, I always tell people in our community, I go, look, you didn't join a course, you didn't join a mentorship, you joined a community. So leverage the community the way you should. You fly all over the country, we're friends with each other. It's like, you did 6 months of working your ass off to network and become friends with people to deserve to be able to deploy these systems and processes.
Yep, that's really what it took. That small runway, which is pretty crazy, right? I mean,
what's crazy is
so small in the grand scheme of things.
You went to school for how long to become an engineer?
4 years.
4 years. And how much money did you make as an engineer?
I quit on my 1 year anniversary.
Oh, you did? How much money did you make as an engineer?
80,000.
80,000. So you'll make, let's say hypothetically, you don't go any faster than you currently are in loans. You don't compound your success. This year, you're on track to make between $200,000 and $300,000 this year in working an hour a month. And as an engineer, you had to go to school for 4 years. How much did it cost you to go to school?
It was free because I was in Florida. I'm actually a Gator, but yes, school costs a lot of money. I had scholarships.
Okay, so you had scholarships, but for like an average engineer, what would you say, 100 grand?
It's 30, 40,000 a year.
Okay, so you're $160,000 to get educated to become an engineer. Then you go land a job and you make 80 grand. You go and learn Gator, couple of months, you put in the networking, basically all in less than a year, you're doing sub 2 deals, you're doing creative deals, but you're really loving the Gator side. Like, I'm gonna go double down on this thing. You weren't doing Gator deals for 6 months. And you weren't even attempting to do Gator deals. You were just networking, but that was like your prerequisites, right? That was like
unknown, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing something.
And you were doing something, and you were aggregating information from other people and understanding other people's business models, so that when you did start applying a strategy you resonated with, you actually knew how to apply it because you knew what problems people had and you knew how you could help solve, which is amazing. But in less than a year, you are now on track to make 4 times as much as you were as an engineer.
So the reason we're in Phoenix, we had our mini mastermind this weekend with the guys, and so we've talked a lot about it. And you're right, if I was was to stay on track, I would do that. But obviously the plan is not even to stay on track. But the other caveat I want to add to that is, I talked about what I expect to make this month and how much money I've lent in the process. And somebody watching this is like, well, not everybody has that much money sitting around, and that's totally fair. But
yeah, but you used get his money on the last deal.
Exactly. So this is what I have been really pushing lately, is that money is just not the asset. It's not. Money is great. You got to go raise money. It's a very great thing. But 95% of the world is working jobs every day and is making money. They're doctors, lawyers, whatever. They're making money. But what do they lack? The knowledge, but mainly the leads.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I would say. And so I consider for what I do, leads to be the commodity. And so what I would say, if somebody's watching this, people come to me and say, I have 50 grand, 100 grand, 500 grand. I get these messages constantly. Can I lend on your deals? And the problem is they're trying to leverage their money, which you can do, but they don't have leads. If you came to me, if anybody came to me, if Eric came to me, Luciano came to me, like we did a deal, and I have a lot of the deals that we're talking about are people that brought deals to me. And they said, I have an opportunity, I don't have money. They make a boat ton of money and they don't do anything except for bring the lead, because that's the asset for me.
Yeah, this was when I started doing this, and I had people, this is probably 7 years ago, and I started telling people what I was doing. They go, well, I can't do that, I don't have money. And I'm like, well, don't you run into other people that need money? Well, yeah, I do. And I go, just bring those people to me. And then it wasn't until like 2 years ago, I started calling it Gator Wrestling, but it was like wrestling other people's leads, other people's resources together to, basically put a puzzle together. So you're essentially putting pieces together and going, I'm getting paid to assemble the puzzle. And people are bringing these things to me because they're like, I don't have the other pieces, but I know Ryan does. And if I bring that piece and that piece, Ryan has the other two pieces and he can assemble it together. It's the same thing when you're raising money for multifamily. You're like, people will say, well, why would a doctor who has $500,000 invest with you on your deal? Why don't they just go do their own deal?
Because they don't know how to do it.
They don't know how to do it. So knowing 1% more than everybody else is how you make 25 grand in a month from doing 1 hour's worth of work.